No, your volume's not messed up. I say it, it happens. It's almost like we're Nostradamus here. Welcome aboard, Big Sills. Hope all are having a great time. OTAs inside for the Eagles. All right. Like the bat signal, where is it? Big Sills. Look, up in the air. Is that a bird? Is it a plane? Oh, wait a minute, it's supercells. Holy cow. I say it here, and then the coaches do it. And you are wrong. How does it feel? By the way, I'm having a spectacular start to the 2025 season with my takes. Holy cow. This is fabulous. I am hitting like Shohei Ohtani. Yes, you guys can start calling me Super Sills. Yeah, it has a ring to it. I like it. Hit the like button. I'm batting 5-0 already. Holy cow. Grand slam. I'm like I said, like I'm Ohtani. I'm back to hitting grand slams. How you doing? So let's start out. SOS Sills. It's like they watch the show and they listen. And then they execute it on the field. Dude, this is fantastic. I say it. They execute it. Yesterday, I made a point to you guys. When are they going to move that dude outside, Cooper DeJean? Voila. He's taking reps outside. Okay, great. That is absolutely sensational. I recommended it. They're now doing it. Okay? Yeah, but the slot is so important. No, it's not. That's easier replaced than finding a corner. Why don't they move you to the number one corner, to the left side? They are. How you doing? Then I'm Rain Man. How you doing, Kyle? Kyle's pretty good. I like it. And then Bryce Puffin stuff. Holy shit. Let me tell you this, man. What a way to start the 2025 season with Big Sills being right all the time. You want to be right? You want to listen? Come right here. Funny. You guys disagree with me, but the coaches don't. How's that work? The coaches listen to me. And you don't. But when the coaches say it, oh, maybe you guys start kicking the can down the road like you're Doug Peterson. Yeah, maybe, yeah. What can you find out about OTAs? Who's there and who's not there? It's just fabulous. This is sensational. Absolutely. And by the way, I talk to your coaches. You don't. Big Sills does. Little old Big Sills. Super Sills. Hit the like button. SOS. What should we be doing? By the way, your edge rushing room is garbage. It's garbage. Temple has a better edge rushing room than the Philadelphia Eagles. Garbage. Like throwing away trash. Every guy you have right now, pretty much, that stepped on the field is garbage. And then you're going to sit around and tell me we're the number one defense when you got trash cans at edge. Trash cans. So let's get into it. Xander will join us at 3:30, and we'll have our friend Jason Cole to give us his insight. Hall of Fame voter, one of the top reporters in all of the National Football League. That'll be at 4:30. Hit the like button. Super chats go to the top. How you doing? Holy cow. So let's start out with HR Puffin stuff. So let me get this right. He was told not to show up at the Super Bowl. Now he's been told not to show up at OTAs. You tell me. Does Vic Fangio like that guy? That would be a no. Are they going to cut him June 1? Most likely not. You know what they will do? They're not going to eat all that money, that $51 million insane deal. You know what they're going to do? They're going to eat some of it or half of it and then move his ass for a 5th or 6th rounder. 5th or 6th rounder. I want to show you this. Remember something about your boy, Hassan? How many people look at Hassan Reddick at being a nightmare? Let's see what you think about Hassan Reddick being a nightmare. Okay? You know the guy you didn't want on the team? How many guys think he's a nightmare? Look at this. Bryce Snuffleupagus, dead man walk. Oh, he is dead man walking. How many people are glad that Hassan Reddick is not on your team? I found out something this morning. They didn't pay him $11.2 million to go to Tampa. They paid him $14.4. He had 1 sack. Took a blowtorch to his 2024 season. And yet he still got $14 million. HR puffing stuff. The guy Vic Fangio hates couldn't even get on the field in the Super Bowl. He was a healthy scratch. And now you don't even want him at OTAs. He's a one-dimensional player from the very beginning. I mean, oh, God. I mean, really. But on to me, please. You got to be kidding. I mean, you gave that guy $14 million? Wow. Hey, man. HR puffing stuff. So you got a shitty edge rushing room. And you have a shitty contract at edge. By the way, I'm looking at the dudes you have on the field. Nolan Smith's not on the field. He's not. Get this. Every single person that was out at OTAs that covers the team is concerned when they look at what you have, except you. Setting the edge on that defense is a priority you have to have. Ask anybody. You have to be able to set the edge in today's NFL, or they're going to run on you all night long. Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, you guys are talking shit on them guys, and you got turds, Turds, right now, lining up at OTAs, albeit it's May 29th. Turds. We're the number one defense until you're not your number one defense. With guys who were cut. Crazy. Hey, get this. Look at old Sue here. He can spell. How about this one? I can spell suck. And you got a ton of it. At edge. How you doing? Yeah, look at this here. You know what? It's funny. I see some fucking loser in here talking. Yeah, because Zach Bond always happens. What a jackass. Yeah, what happened to Devin White? What happened to the greatness of Devin White? You guys told me he was a great ball player. He sucked out loud. Get this. Congratulations. You can go to your corner and have a circle jerk now, LJ. Way to go, guy. Way to go, man. Imagine that. Your highlight of your day is to come here and get a reaction and me to comment with you. Hey, bro, I use you. Your content. This guy's he's a total dick. He doesn't get it. Great. Keep posting away, loser. I don't really care. I have a fun time. Oh, well, wait a minute. He's Canadian. What do I care? Cut the border off. Close it up. It took 4 minutes. Look at this guy. So he goes back to his room with his buddy and he pleasures himself because he's in here like, here, let me do this, Pat. Pat, I don't want you to feel like left out because this guy has to have a little time here. That's about all I'll give him here. I'm fine with Nolan and Jalix, but unsure of what we'll get from the new guys. Of course you're unsure. Last year you said that. Last year I did, and I'll say it again. Dude, you went from 28th to 1st. And the year before, here. Hey, Kyle, do me a favor. Tell me what the defensive rankings, if you can tell me, Kyle, since 2021, let's do this. I want to show you. You said the same thing last year. Well, let's do this since 2021. What was, very simple, anybody could do this. What was the Eagles' defense ranked total in 2021? 2021. They were ranked, what were they ranked? They were ranked, Kyle, help me out here. 2021, the first year that they were in the room. Let's see here. 2021 rankings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What were they ranked defensively in 2021? I think they were like 7th or 8th. Am I right? 31st. Were they 31st, Abe? I'm not talking about 2023. I'm talking about 2021. What were they ranked total? And then let's take a look at this one. Let's see here. 2022. 2022 Eagles defense ranked. They were ranked NFL's top defense leading the league. That was 2024. Every year it went like this, up, down, up, down, up, down, because of personnel changes. You've never had a consistent defense. Ever. Under the Nick Sirianni regime. Thank you. 21, they were 17th. Then they had a top 10 rating in 22. And then they were 28 in 23. And then they were number 1 in 24. You've never been consistent. You have never been consistent since they've been here. Why? Because it's personnel changes. I mean, you don't keep the same. That side of the ball is not a priority. Now, again, it is one thing. It's May 21st. Get this. You will survive. Bro, you need to thrive. Your offense, as you said yesterday, it's the best it's going to get. The offense, again, is unbalanced. Dude, if you don't have a great running attack and Barkley's hurt, you're finished. You're finished. Completely finished. So here, let's get the Bryce Huff first. Only way you're going to fix this deal with Bryce Huff is to go out and see if anybody wants a mediocre, limited pass rusher, just like the Jets told you he was. By the way, I think they should have had him at camp, because at least you could do this, put him in a role like he had in New York, where he rushed the passer. But he was a one-year wonder. The same way that Azeez Ojulari, let's see who else, Joshua Uche, all those guys were one-year wonders. How in the world do you not know if Nolan Smith is not in that room? You're assuming that. He's not been consistent in any way in an entire career yet. You don't even know what you're getting with Jalix Hunt. You have no idea. Okay? No idea. You don't have any, there's no stability on defense. Dude, you can have great players like Jalen Carter and Micah Parsons on your defense, but if you don't have a great unit and players that can play in multiple, why do you think they're moving Zach Bond and trying to see if that guy could be an edge rusher in OTAs? Because you're limited at edge. That's why I had us at 9-8, 10-7. Think about it. So what Vic Fangio is now doing, hey, and let me tell you a little bit about OTAs. The one thing as a player, you're told from your agent and your position coaches. You know the guys that have notepads that sit on the sidelines and tell you what's going on the field? You know those guys? Guys are sitting there covering the team. I've been in the room. And I'll tell you, you know what the coaches are telling you? Don't ever let an opportunity, anytime you step on the field, put bad tape so people can have an opinion on you or not have an opinion on you. Every single time you step on the field, as long as it's filmed, it matters. Okay? Reporters will go like this. You don't get a chance to find out anything on OTAs. That's a fucking absolutely uneducated take that OTAs don't matter. Why? The NFL's, they don't do shit for nothing, shits and giggles. They do it because they put everything on tape. Every single thing. Can I ask you something here? What's the purpose of OTAs, you think? What do you think the purpose of OTAs is? Whether you have helmets or whether you're in full gear. What do you think the reason for OTAs? What's the number one thing that you think OTAs bring to a player? By the way, the ones who want to be educated and want to have some fun today, have at it. The ones that want to bitch at me all day, keep posting away. Algorithm helps the show out a lot, and we thank you. Chemistry. That's a great take. That's an even better take. Okay? Another good take. Excellent. 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 You guys are missing one thing. Okay? System learning. These are excellent takes. Okay? Excellent. What's the one thing you're missing? That matters too. Beers with my teammates? Yeah. Camaraderie? Be around one another? Absolutely. Another great one. The number one thing that OTAs teach is this. Okay? Communication. They want to see guys on the field. Banjo 3, banjo 3, banjo 4, banjo 4, high safety 2, high safety 2. Brown set, odd even. Blitz is coming from the strong side. They want to see communication. They want to see if players are looking at what they're visioning when you're looking at tape. And you know what you'll do? You'll go back to the OTAs and you'll go in your position meetings. First, you'll do a group meeting as a unit. And Vic will go like this. You know why the depth chart matters now? Because if you can't do it in helmets and shorts, you're surely not going to do it in helmets and full gear. So what they're doing is they're doing this. Quinion, what do you see over here? That's a poor step. You're playing on the other side now. You have to have that free safety, making sure if you're going to cheat over there off the hash and you're going to go more towards the number, you've got to make sure you're communicating that across to Reed or whomever's at the other safety position And you've got to make sure you're talking back there, because one of the vital parts of a Vic Fangio defense is that middle zone. And you're sitting here and you're all listening to that and you're watching, and Vic's going to point it out. That's a great drop. You dropped 2 steps. You didn't have a false step. You read run and you contained. That's what OTAs are. That's the technical part of it. OTAs, minicamp, training camp, working with the veterans. I mean, that is what this is about. Is, do you understand what you're seeing? They're going to come at you with multiple sets. Now, the Eagle offense is not complicated. So it's, the talent level on the team. The talent is better than the scheme on offense. Any coordinator will tell you that. Philadelphia is not complex. They don't throw across the middle of the field, like Phil Simms said, and they barely ever use the tight end. It's not complicated. The players totally make that scheme up and make it successful. That scheme doesn't help them. The players make that scheme. It's too simple. It's predictable. However, you're so good. Again, this is not a rip. You're so good, they can't stop you. There is no question. If you take a look around the league, is there a better offensive unit with players on it than Philly offensively? No. Absolutely no. There's no better offensive group. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have the best offense. By the way, I'll say it again, and I'll hold to this. You don't need your quarterback to be a great passer. You're so good. See, you don't want to see that or hear that, but your quarterback doesn't have to be a consistent passer for that offense to dominate in the NFL. You dominate in spite of that. It's great. Like Phil said yesterday, it's a perfect take on what Phil said. Shit, that just shows me how dominant they are. They're 30th in passing, and they're still killing teams. That's a positive. It is. You don't have to be very good in the passing game. And on top of that, doesn't matter if you're predictable. It just doesn't matter. Again, it's not a rip. You won a Super Bowl with that shit. So you're not going to get a lot of work, but again, you're going to be able to work with some of the greatest players in the sport. Okay? I mean, I get to go against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. That's fantastic. Get this. See this here, Mr. Know-It-All? No, I don't know it all. I was just going through it. I went through 10 minicamps and 10 fall practices. How many have you gone through? You ever done it? It's not know-it-all. I just did it for 10 years. It's not like I'm smarter than you, guy. Like, I'm sure there's something in your life that you're a better profession at. And I don't know because I haven't done it. Okay, Dick Train. Looks like he got demoted. Yeah. Right? I mean, I just happen to have gone through training camps and mini camps my entire life. For 10 years, a decade, I did that. Yeah, I kind of know what to expect. Dick Train. Look, he got demoted. I don't know. Yeah, he went from being a turd to a bigger turd. I don't know. Maybe that's his. Maybe he went from being Captain Turd to like Private Turd. I don't know. What makes the Eagles good is their toughness and their attitude and the culture in the building, for sure. They got a bunch of players that don't give up. They got a bunch of players, Angelo, that wins. And you got a bunch of players that have won. Okay? That's correct. Yeah, he went from like dickhead captain to like dickhead private. I don't know. Though a lot of people want the offense to just blow up 60 points a game if you can. No. I want it to be a little bit more unpredictable so that you can help your defense grow a little more. That's all I'm talking about. Again, Forrest, nobody in their right mind thinks that the Philadelphia Eagles in the last 2 years have lived up to the expectations of the talent that's on the offense. Nobody would suggest that. Hey, did you do a great job? Here, watch this. You know how simple that topic was yesterday? And you guys couldn't answer because you didn't want to fucking answer it. Did you have one of the greatest running games in the history of National Football League? Yes. Did you have one of the shittiest passing games in the history of the NFL for a winning team that won a Super Bowl? Yes. Is there room for improvement? In your eyes, no. You indicted your own team. I think there is. But you didn't want to hear it. Yeah, we lived up to expectations. What are you talking about? See, wait. I'll say it again. You had the greatest running attack in the history of the NFL. Okay? Greatest running attack. And you had one of the shittiest passing attacks of all time. Okay? You don't have the number one defense any longer. What's this? Dick Train. Grow a pair of seals. Tell us how you really feel. Okay, you're a dickhead. I don't know. Is that better? You feel better about yourself? Go sit down now with your little aluminum foil hat on. Congratulations. You and LJ could sit in the corner and have that, one thing that everyone likes to watch you guys doing, or at least your buddies. How you doing? Let's see here. There's always room for improvement, but saying we suck, there was only 2 teams worse than you in the passing game. Look at this. They were great in passing. Where were you? 30th. Okay. This guy, again, he thinks the 30th. Get this. Let's read this. There's always room for improvement. Thank you, Dr. Obvious. But saying we sucked in the pass game is exactly what other teams thought and ate shit when we were inevitably passed on them. You didn't pass on anybody this year. Those 2 playoff games between the Packers and Rams. You guys were on your cues there. Holy shit. Maybe was it the Packer game? It was terrible. It's just sad, though, Hogan. If I was a fan of the Niners, I wouldn't be here at all because I couldn't have anything to say. I think your Niners are going to make a rebound, dog. I think those Niners are going to make a rebound. I do. All right. So what to do? Will they cut him on June 1st? No way is how we eating that. Seals, keep cooking. Always great to hear your daily sermon. Too many casuals around here. You keep the balance. We try, dude. They don't want to. Nobody likes balance. Nobody likes fair. Nobody likes hearing it. Dude, Brian, here. It's a great football organization. There's no getting around that. They're the champs. But I'm talking about repeating. And again, 2024, it's old news. I'm not talking about 24. Okay? The things you did in 24, let me ask you this. So the stuff you had in 23, well, let me ask you this. Outside of Reddick, who didn't you bring back for the 24 season? Can you tell me? On that 2023 team, how many people on defense did you not bring back? Reddick? People that were good. Reddick? Who else? Kevin Bard and Shaq Leonard sucked. Give me somebody good. Linebackers sucked. Fletcher retired. I'll take that. Hargrave was the year before. TJ Edwards, he left after the 22 season. I'm talking after the 23 season. Edwards was not on the team in 23. So, Fletcher and Hassan that were not on the team that you brought back in 24. Right? I'll take Fletcher Cox. So 2 dudes. Am I right? Okay. So let's take a look at the dudes you don't have coming back this year off your Super Bowl championship defensive football team. Slay, Williams, Sweat, CJ. Let's see. Oren Burks, he was a starter. This show is not for snowflakes. Thank you, Kyle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys versus 2. Okay. So you're losing more guys off this team. The team that you brought back had experienced the meltdown of 2023. And you brought 99% of those guys back. This year's a different story. And plus, these guys were contributors to the number 1 defense in the National Football League. It's a different conversation now. Now you're trying to fill them with dudes you signed from other units. There's more new faces in the building. And now you've got to figure out what to do with Bryce Huff. So here, what I would do is I'd call up Chargers, somebody in the AFC. Patriots, people with money. Who else? Kansas City. Niners aren't taking that. Why would the Niners want that stiff? And then what I would do is I'd say, I'll tell you what, we'll take up 25 to 30% of the contract. You give me a 6th-round pick. Six-round pick for a $51 million guy just to get him out of the building because your DC hates him. Dude, 2 things that is evident that we had with OTAs yesterday. You know what it was? Big Fangio hates that guy. He is a healthy scratch for the Super Bowl, and they don't even want him around during OTAs, and he's been to no organized team activities. You tell me what's up. If I was a player, I'd be on the horn with my agent. Where are we going? What's up? They want to move you. They don't want you in the building. They want to give reps to other people. You're out. No player in his right mind. And by the way, have you seen the depth chart? He's 3rd team. He's 3rd team. Like I said. Okay. Let me ask you something here. So when you look up, and here, I want to show you guys something. I think you'll get a kick out of this. Okay, I do. I think you'll get a kick out of this here. So let me show you something here. You guys will like this. So when you see something like this, let me show you a Cowboy depth chart that you'll like. And I'm going to show this to you. Okay. That's a starting lineup for the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? See that? That's the Dallas Cowboys starting defensive line. Jeff Coates, Sileo, Mark Whalen, and Ed Too Tall Jones. Okay? Why is that significant? Why is that significant? I get the most reps. I get the most looks on film. I get all of the conversation from the D-line coach. This is right. Shows what the coach sees with you. He sees you number one. He's going to talk to you more. He's going to give you more reps. And that's what goes on in OTAs. Anytime they film you, you're being evaluated. Why? Because there's 90 dudes on your team. They're not going to waste time. They are not going to waste time. Dude, Vic Fangio's not wasting time with Bryce Huff. He's not giving reps. It's useless. Why? Do you not agree with me on this? That Vic Fangio's given up that Bryce Huff could be a 3-down player. Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys think that's true? That they've given up that Bryce Huff could be a 3-down player? That Vic said he can't do it. Right? That he's given up going, I need to go to the next guy because I can't waste my time. That guy was given every opportunity last year to start and win the job. How many times did we say that guy's a liability on the field? Every time he lined up until they put Brandon Graham in. Yes, the question is, has Howie? Here's the deal, though. He's absolutely correct because there's a financial thing in here. Because this is what Howie Roseman has to be cognizant of when you're trying to move a player. You're right, Bob, because here's what you have to do. You have to do this. If I put him too far down the depth chart and I don't play him and I don't practice him, what kind of value am I going to get out there for him when I have to start chopping him? Because players and teams are going to go, well, shit, they're moved off him. They don't want him. They don't even like him. I mean, the thing with Reddick was at least this. He was productive. He may have been an asshole in the locker room, but he could play. That's why the Bucks gave him $14 million. Do you understand that? I mean, Hassan Reddick may be a dickhead, but Hassan Reddick can play. And he's played he's got 51 and a half sacks. You want to hear something crazy about that psycho? Hassan Reddick, in the last 5 years, has 51 and a half sacks. And he had 1 sack last year. 51 and a half. That's insane. I mean, that's why he got $14 million. You know, I'm going to put up with that shit with that guy. That's what the Bucks are saying. And hell, it's what the Eagles said. They're going, I'm going to put up with that shit, you know, because he's so good. Got to get off this guy because you got more important things to do. You know, let me take a look at the depth chart here, and I'm going to show you something here in what the Eagles need to be focusing on, because I'm going to ask you another question about this. By the way, am I concerned, right? I'll get to that topic here in a minute. It is May 29. Okay, so if you don't have Nolan Smith out here, and I don't know if he'll be ready for the training camp, start of the season. I have no idea. This is what you got right now. You got Bryce Huff, Joshua Uche. You got Azeez Ojulari, who somebody said to me that he's a shrimp. You got Jalix Hunt and Patrick Johnson. Man, that's nobody to write home about. Jahad Campbell is not ready. Nolan Smith's not ready. And you got 2 players in Nolan Smith and Jahad Campbell that are banged up on May 29th. And those young players are not going to get the reps they need. Get this. How much faith do you have in Vic Fangio that he'll figure this out? How many? Get this. See, Rico? Huff was a no-show. Huff was a no-show? Why? He sucked last year. Why wouldn't he be in camp? Who do you think he is, Brandon Graham? Crowley says, I trust Vic. Well, what happened with Reddick? What happened with Huff? What happened with Huff? He couldn't help him. Remember what I said to you before, folks. You could have the greatest scheme on the planet. If you don't have the Jimmies and Joes, it won't matter. It was a $51 million gamble. And Vic realized he's not good enough. That's a Howie mistake. Couldn't do anything with him. He did do no. But he had options. Dude, I'll make the point to you that when Brandon Graham went in, it changed the entire defensive system around. He was playing great football. I thought there were times last year he was the best player on the field. Like when he got hurt in that Rams game, I thought he was the best player on the field. Here. Oh, wait a minute. I guess Fangio's human after all. Big deal. What happened with Devin White? You told me he was going to be a great player. How come he couldn't help him? 90% of you told me Devin White was going to have a rebound season. So wait a minute. I mean, Devin White. You know how many people in here last year told me he was going to have a bounce back year? I'm like, that guy sucks. He's 26 years old. And the Bucks moved off the 5th pick in the draft for a reason. For a reason. Dude, he had some guys. I'll make the point to you one more time. You know, it's funny. Sports talk is not an exact science, just like the NFL is not an exact game. I bring this point up to you all the time. Dude, year 2, Devin White was a great ball player. Second team All-Pro, had a ton of sacks, was on the Buccaneer Super Bowl winning defense. What happened? Same thing as Carson Wentz. Some guys splash early. Some guys splash like Brandon Graham late. Opinions change every single day on a player. Hey, get this. Opinions of the National Football League changed on Jalen Hurts. They thought he was a second-round pick. And many people in Philly hated the second-round pick. Hell, you heard Phil Simms saying when he came out of college, he wasn't NFL ready. He did not have an NFL arm. He didn't think he could make the throws. Well, that opinion has changed. So are you supposed to stay with that Alabama take? According to some of you, you're supposed to stay with that take. Even if the player's failing. Bryce Huff, I'll never forget. And no shade on John McMullen here. When he came out, you know what I heard? I think Xander even, by the way, will join us at 3:30. Win rate, and rush rate, and all that. And I'm like, what in the world is that? Does he make an impact on a football team? Like when he's on the field, do you think that guy's Hassan Reddick? Every time Hassan Reddick stepped on the field for the Eagles, he was a force. And you know what? I give it to Jonathan Gannon. I thought he never got off the bus the first 4. You know why? Gannon was dropping him. Do you know how many edge rushers you have right now that can't drop in coverage? Almost all of them. The ones that are on the field now. I think Jalen Hunt's going to be fine because that's the skill set they drafted him at. That's why drafting a player is better than signing a player. Why? Why do you think drafting a player is better than signing a player from another team? What do you think? Why would you think it's better to work with a player that you drafted? What do you guys think? Guy like Jalen Hunt, Nolan Smith, Abe's like it's cheaper. Why? There you go, Takeem. Excellent take. You guys are killing it today with your takes. Really great. That's right. System fits. Vic Fangio sits in the room and goes, this is what I want. He's got to be able to drop. He's got to be able to rush. He's got to be able to pursue in traffic. And that's what he's looking for. Okay? When you sign a guy like Huff, who's one-dimensional, it's a bad sign for Vic Fangio. Vic's got to somehow make that guy work. And in Vic Fangio's scheme, he's not going to play a guy situationally. Was there one player last year that was a situational player? The only situational player I can think of was Jordan Davis. Name me another one. Where a guy just played one role on your defense a year ago. Name me one guy other than Jordan Davis I just mentioned that played one role. Josh Sweat. This is why you guys look at Josh Sweat and Milton Williams and you think those are replaceable guys. Well, you're finding out now they're not. You don't have players that can play like that. 3 down, rush, play to run. You know how hard that is to find? Look at Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is terrible at playing the run. But he's such a force in pass rush and dropping in coverage. They put up with the shitty run defense because he does 2 of the 3 things great. He drops in coverage. He's really good at that. He's really exceptional at pass rushing, and he's marginal at stopping the run. The marginal at stopping the run is why the Cowboys suck, though. Do you understand that? The one deficiency, get this. I want to show you this here. What's the one deficiency in Michael Parsons' game? What is the one deficiency that Micah Parsons has in his repertoire as an NFL football player? So one thing he has that he doesn't do well. There's Twiz, run defense. Hey, Twiz, Abe, run defense. What's the number one Achilles that the Cowboys have had the last 3 years? Chris, what's the number one Achilles? Rizzy doesn't play the run, doesn't set the edge. What's the one problem that the Cowboy defense has had? Run defense. So the Achilles of their best player plays out in the unit. He can't stop the run. They can't stop the run. Do you think there's a coincidence to that? Wait a minute. Think of that. You're going to pay a guy $40 million, and he's the main reason why you can't stop the run because your top defender doesn't want to play the run. Hence the issues that you have with run defense. He's a finesse player? Yeah. There's no coincidence to that. Take a look at the Eagles. Name me a player that wasn't versatile. And by the way, to Jordan Davis's credit, I thought the last 5 games of the season, I thought he did show some versatility. Name me another guy who wasn't a 3-down player on the defense. Name me one guy who couldn't be on the field for 3 downs. You want to say Jordan? Fine. Name me another one. Huh. Okay. He got benched. If you can't play 3 downs, you cannot play for Vic Fangio. Here's what he wants. And get this. The face of Vic Fangio's defense last year was not Jalen Carter. It was Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. You know why? Here's why. They weren't great run stoppers. They weren't great pass rushers. They weren't great dropping in coverage. They were great in versatility, and they did everything very well. You don't have a lot of guys on your team that do everything very well. They have one skill. Azeez Ojulari can rush the passer, can't drop, can't play the run. Now, of course, the best player on the team defensively is Carter. There's no doubt about that. But what embodied that defense was your versatility and everybody being good. You didn't have to have substitutions. You could play nickel, dime, 2 high safety, 43, 34, 5 front, and you didn't have to take a guy off the field. Do you know how many defenses in the National Football League I've ever seen can't do that? Almost all of them. Almost all of them. I mean, not one player was a role player. Now you're dealing with a bunch of role guys. That's why there's question marks. Okay. I mean, that's why you've got question marks everywhere. You get this, those guys were role players when they came in and they had to spell guys on run and on being able to play in pass coverage, coming in and playing. Moro Jomo would come in and he was the swing tackle. Hunt turned out to be the swing edge. Get this. The guys that you had coming in for your defensive line, Moro Jomo was the swing tackle. Swing edge was Jalix Hunt at the end. So much so they benched Huff. Your swing corner was Isaiah. Your swing linebacker was Oren Burks. You have none of that even in your first group. You have none of that. I mean, like I said, see this? 99% of the guys you brought back from the 23 football team were on the 24 team. You've lost 5 starters, count the Super Bowl, off your defense. A little different than losing Fletcher Cox and Hassan Reddick. Do the math. Get this. Think of this. Like I said, Burks started the entire playoffs. There was not one bit of drop-off from Nakobe to him. By the way, I'll make this statement to you. Do you know why they're not going to give Nakobe Dean a contract? Because they could have started Oren Burks all season long, and he would have given you the same results that Nakobe Dean gave you. I saw it in the playoffs, in the biggest games. I saw it in the wild card games. I saw it in the divisional games. I saw it in the conference title game, and I saw it in the Super Bowl. He had 46 tackles. That guy had 46 tackles. There was no drop-off. Not one drop-off. Here. I mean, I've already counted it. I have to do it again. That's false. You hear that? Just totally not. There was not one fucking bit of drop off. What a dummy, man. Unbelievable that you guys will sit there and believe your own bullshit. Here, let's just take a look at this list here of last year and take a look. We'll see if I'm right. Okay? We'll see if I'm right here with this here. I gotta go back. I gotta go back here. Hold on for a second. And let me go back here. Let's go back. Let me go back to 2024 postseason. 2024 postseason. 2024 NFL postseason. Let's see how Burks played. Postseason games. And to show you, okay, week 1, NFL postseason. Let's see how he played. Let's see how he played here. My bad here. Excuse me. So in week 1 against Green Bay, Oren Burks had 9 tackles. Okay, let's go to the divisional game. Let's go divisional game here. Box score. He had 10 tackles and 2 TFLs. I could do this all day. Where else did he go here? Let's go to the conference championship game here. See here. What did he do in the conference title game? He had 9 total tackles, a sack, and a TFL. He's the second leading tackler. What are you talking about? There was no drop-off. That guy would have played 17 weeks the same way. You're wrong. You're wrong. Okay? You're wrong. There was no drop-off. They were blowing teams out. Okay? Would have completely been different. Wouldn't have been any different. By the way, they didn't need him. They blew out the Chiefs. Okay. By the way, hypothetical. How can it be hypothetical? They won the Super Bowl with him. Hypothetical. My God. You know what? I find myself arguing with idiots. I don't know why. All right. Hit the like button, guys. Super chats go to the top. Let me ask you this now. What do you think the coaches have more concerns over? I don't want to hear your concerns because they're dumb. What do you think the coaches' number 1 concerns are? Quarterback or edge? Because if we ask your concerns, you're going to say none. So what do we look at? What the coaches you think are the biggest concern? Corner or edge? What do you think is the bigger concern to the coaches? Man, this is a tough one. Kyle says edge 100%. Kyle, why would you say that? Why would you go? I see Philly fly over too. Why would you guys? Why would you say that, Kyle? Why 100% edge to you? What's the biggest concern? Okay? Get this. And see, once again, this guy misses what I'm saying. The face of the Eagles was versatility. And he thinks that I said that the face of the Eagles was Josh Sweat himself. No, it was the versatility Josh Sweat brought to the unit. Again, not thinking clearly. That's like when you say, this guy's got the same skill set as Tom Brady. You're comparing him to Brady? No, I see same characteristics. Again, this is stupid. Nobody said that. I said that guy, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Oren Burks, Zach Bond, all were the faces because it was all versatility. They were 3-down players. They didn't have to come off the field. The face of the Philadelphia Eagles a year ago was versatility, not specialized pass rushers. What would he know? Again, you hear one thing and you think that's embodied because, wait a minute, the best player on the defense, he's saying, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. And get this, the coaches yesterday were practicing Cooper DeJean at corner and Zach Bond at edge. Why? They're trying to find a spot for Jahad Campbell when he's ready. Don't you see that? They're going to put Jahad Campbell in Bond's place maybe and rush Bond from the edge. Unfortunately, again, I'm going to point this out to you. Vic is like Jim Johnson. Okay? He's like Jim Johnson. He's looking at the pieces that he has to work with. And he's got to figure out the Rubik's Cube. We know one thing. Zach Bond can rush the passer. So, why not put a better athlete and Bond, paying him, out at the edge and let him rush and let Jahad Campbell play his natural position next to Dean? Why not? Isn't that a better transition for Jahad Campbell than to put him out at edge, playing against the premier offensive tackles? Why not make that transition better for him? You put Jahad Campbell in his natural role, inside off linebacker. And you put Zach Bond in. I'll tell you what else I think also plays into this. He's not ready to be practicing. And Vic, you can see, when Vic is practicing, okay? When Vic is practicing him, I'll tell you this. One thing I'm very sure about with Zach Bond, I don't think there's anything he can't do. I don't think there's anything he cannot do. By the way, when they rush him from the inside or they rush him, he is outstanding. Okay? And by the way, at OTAs, they had him outside. They want to see if he can have the versatility. I never thought about it. But they're trying to find a spot for Campbell. I was trying to think, are they going to take Dean off the field? No. And they don't want to take Bond off the field. They're going to move Bond to one of the edges because they're light at edge. If they can. Because, wait a minute, how would you know if Campbell's better? How would you know? They don't know. So they've got to prepare. You see this here? I'm sorry, guys. I know you love the name, but the name on the back of the jersey, if that guy's name was Smith, you wouldn't give a shit about him. The only reason you give a shit about him is because his last name is Trotter. That's the only reason you care. He's okay. Not bad. I don't see it. He's too slow. He's not fast enough. I mean, honest to God, if his name was Jeremiah Smith, you wouldn't give a shit about him. You wouldn't care. Okay? Hit the like button here. So I got to answer the question I asked. More concerns at corner or edge. Them even putting, as we suggested yesterday, and we've been suggesting for about, 5 months. I've been actually suggesting this since the end of the Super Bowl. And when we realized and you found out that you were going to lose Slay, I started asking the question immediately. Why not put Cooper DeJean outside? No, the nickel. I'm like this. Wait a minute here, man. Always comes down to this. And like I tried to explain to people, always know this. Players want to play with the position that has the most money. Do you know why? Let me put this to you guys this way. Do you know why running backs no longer make gigantic money? And the only two people that make money, thanks, Stevie, are the two running backs, Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. Those are the only people that make money. Thank you, Stevie. That's up. I can't holler at my doggy too much there. He's protecting me. He's protecting the Big Sill Studios here. Okay? Yeah. All right. Thank you, Stevie. Thank you, M. Reyes. I appreciate that. Thank you, Stevie. Boy, I love you, baby. Love my little puppy. It's all good. All right. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Cornerback edge. What'd you guys say again? Was the number one concern you think the coaches have? If I'm moving Cooper DeJean out of that nickel and I'm putting him out there, get this. Think of this. You're going to play and you're trying to figure out if Zach could play outside. You're going to move a $17 million linebacker to see if he can play a little bit of edge for you in third down or in nickel. And now you're going to take one of your young superstars out of a spot where he was excellent in last year and play him out at edge. What does that tell you? They don't like the talent they have on the team. And Jahad Campbell's not ready. And Nolan Smith's not ready. Not saying Nolan Smith's not going to play this year. I am not saying that Jahad Campbell's not. But what they have in the building right now, they don't like. And they're trying to figure it out. What's our best remedy? Do we put Cooper out there on third and long at corner? Do we put Cooper on first and second in the slot? Do you move him around like that? Is he good enough to do that? I think he is. Again, there's no way they think Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo are the answer. There's just no way. They do think that Cooper DeJean could be the answer. And would it be easier to replace the slot? I think it is. That's the lesser position. Now, in Vic's scheme, the middle zone's important. See, the greatness of Cooper DeJean's potential and Zach Bond's versatility allows Vic to do this. Do you know how many coaches don't have this affordability and the players on the team to be able to do this with? You mean to tell me I can cover two positions potentially? Or four positions with two players? Shit, sign me up. Sign me up. Sign me up. You could play those guys that way. You know, they're already moved, and they've been moving Q around. Hey, you know, Vic doesn't really like to do this, but would he maybe have Quinyon Mitchell travel? Would he add that wrinkle? How many people believe you're going to see the same defensive scheme this year. I do not. I do not. I think you guys are going to have a completely different looking football team this year because it's going to fit the player's skill set. It's like making a offense for a quarterback. There's not one offense in pro football that is plug and play. There's no such thing. Every single great coordinator in this sport makes a defense or an offense for the skill they have in their huddle. Remember, there's only 53 guys. I love what they're doing. Get this. I heard John saying, and I happen to agree with John, that the edge rushers, it's just not very good, and he's concerned about it. I see DeJean like Jenkins, someone you can move like a chess piece. Kyle, follow me here. I'm a little bit more optimistic about you covering your defense up from all the losses now. Having seen what they're trying to do just in OTAs than before the OTAs. I think there's actually there's a game plan. And I see what they're looking at. Now, again, the young players are going to have to figure it out, whether they're going to be a contributor. And from what I understand, the majority of the reps went to everybody, and there were a ton of people getting reps. Was that safety? Why? Why do you think they were trying to get a ton of reps at safety? Okay? Why do you think? Here, but wait a minute. Seals, I've been trying to tell you, and I've been trying to tell you, you don't have the number one defense any longer. This is a start from scratch. This is a whole new build-up again. You don't have the same volume of players you had a year ago. You just don't. You've got draft picks and free agents, first-year players. And almost all of the guys on defense that you have replacing are all guys who never played on the team a year ago. Facts. Like I said, think about it. Okay? A year ago, when you started 24, you replaced Bradbury with Q. You put Cooper in the slot. You figured that was good. Right? And you were marginal at edge, losing Reddick, and it didn't cost you. Every other position, all those guys were on the team in 2023. They had gone through the bumps and bruises of 23, and they went through Vic's renaissance and being able to figure out the chess game in 24. Well, like I said, you're missing. It's not that Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. Again, you're going to have to replace them with two players. One guy that plays the run, one guy that plays the pass. That's multiple substitutions. You don't have versatility anywhere on that defensive front, except for what? Jalen Carter. He's the only one. Moro Jomo is not very good playing the run. That's why you drafted Ty Robinson. Don't you see that? That's what's taking Milton's spot. Moro Jomo and Ty Robinson. Milton Williams played both, rushed the passer and played the run. Again, that's why he's paid $26 million. He's not paid because he's the top 5 tackle in the game. He's paid because he can do both. Simple. I mean, look, why is Fletcher Cox? Why is Jordan Davis a downgrade from Fletcher Cox? Fletcher could play the run and rush the passer. Fletcher gets you 7 sacks a year and play great stout run defense. Jordan Davis can't give you pass rushing and plays run defense. And you bring in Moro Jomo to pass rush. You had to cover 2 players to cover Fletcher Cox's position. That's correct. For a defensive tackle, he was an elite pass rusher. Every year he was. 6, 7, 8 sacks, 50 tackles, played the run exceptional. That's why when I first came here to JAKIB, Xander thought I was nuts. I like him better than Aaron Donald in my scheme. Aaron Donald is an exceptional pass rusher. He couldn't play the run to save his life. You couldn't name me one defense that he played on that was in the top 5 at any time in his career. He did not want to play the run. And that's why he'd run around blocks. Fletcher Cox didn't run around blocks. Played stout defense. I really liked the player. And, I was asked a question the other day. Sills, do you think he's the greatest D tackle in the history of the sport? That guy right there, or the Eagles, that guy right there, if had lived his life, would have been the second greatest defensive lineman in Philadelphia Eagle history. But because he didn't get a chance to fulfill his destiny, Fletcher Cox is number 2, and Jalen Carter could be number 2. He'll never be better than Reggie. As great as Jalen Carter can be, he'll never be that guy. It's impossible. It's impossible for him to be better than Reggie White. That will never happen. Could he be better than Warren Sapp? Maybe. But again, there's one D tackle in NFL history, and it's Reggie White. I mean, he's the greatest. And I've made the comment too. You can flip a coin, LT or him. I don't know. LT or him? Sure. Pick one. I mean, so I got to finish this here. Reggie was actually moved up and down the line of scrimmage from end to inside tackle, and they would move him around. They would even put him on a shade nose. Anyway. Corner or edge? What's going to be the difficult one for coaches? You do not have cornerback 2 on your team right now. Unless you move Cooper. You move Cooper, you do. Cooper and Q playing corner. Man, I like that. Now, would they do this? Play Cooper in the slot on 1st and 2nd down. And on 3rd and long, slide him out the corner. I don't know if I've ever seen that. Could he do that? That'd be a big ask. And I'll tell you what, if he could do that, you're talking about a $35 million a year guy. I can cover 2 positions for you at all-pro level. Fuck, I'm paying you big money, man. You think Jalen Carter got paid? If that guy got, and by the way, see this here? That's not what they're doing. That's not what they're doing. I heard him talk. By the way, we're going to listen to some of the comments that the guys made. That's not what they're doing. I go with what the Eagles' actions are, not by what they're saying. Don't ever believe an NFL team. Okay? What they say. Because it's propaganda. Look at what they're practicing. Look who's getting the reps. Isn't it funny? If you listen to any show in Philly about OTAs, they'll tell you they're jokes. Me? I learn a lot by who they're looking at and who they're getting film on. Okay? I mean, no. M. Reyes goes on what they're saying. I'm going on what they're practicing. That's where my takes are. Your shit and bullshit comes up what they tell you. That's why you believe Nick Sirianni calls the plays or is in charge of the offense or some shit, whatever you think, which is not true. And then when you hear Kevin Petula go, I'm the main voice in the room. Oh, okay. Yeah. So when you're practicing balling outside, what does that have to do with what I'm saying? Anyway, I'll tell you what, if you do that and you play him at corner and you play him in the slot, Cooper DeJean is in for a gigantic payday. Folks, I'll tell you this. I would pay that guy north of $35 million if that guy could play both those positions. You think Travis Hunter is a versatile player? I'll make this point to you. He'll be more versatile of a player than Travis Hunter. You know what? I'm going to make a proclamation. Who's a better athlete? Travis Hunter or Cooper DeJean? I think Cooper DeJean's a better athlete than Travis Hunter. I think he's better. I've never seen him not pick up some type of ball, baseball, basketball, football, and just not look like the best athlete on the field. I think Cooper DeJean's a better all-around athlete than Travis Hunter. I know, crazy. But every time I watch him play, I'll tell you this, managing expectations for he's a better football player than Quinyon Mitchell. He is a better football player. And he was outstanding. No shade. DeJean is the second best defensive football player, including Zach Bond, on your football team. Slot and corner they're playing him at. Two toughest positions on the field. Next to quarterback. It's fucking crazy. And it's great. When I heard John say that, and I saw the depth chart, and I saw where he's even listed at corner, I'm like, they're going to try to play this guy at two positions. I mean, that's fantastic. He is such a good player, man. The more and more you watch him, the more and more. And by the way, I think Travis Hunter's an outstanding athlete. I just think he's better. I could play him at safety, slot, corner. How many guys in the NFL do you think you could do that with? And let me put this into perspective for you. Cooper DeJean was a second-round pick. Travis Hunter was the second overall pick. You're telling me what I'm saying is that Cooper DeJean should be the number 2 overall pick in his draft? Okay. Who got the better end of that deal? The Eagles had to give nothing up for that guy. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they mortgaged the future for that guy. I mean, it's insane on how far he fell in the draft and how they landed on him. I did not think he was that good. I thought he was just some dude from Iowa. No way. That guy is great. And Vic's actions speak to that. Let's try him out there. We evaluate him as a corner. We didn't evaluate him as a nickel. Get this. Think about this. The Eagles didn't draft him for the position he's playing now. They drafted him to play corner. And so he just said, I'll go play it. And what, he's an all-pro guy at it? The Zach Bond story is the greatest story I've ever seen for a linebacker position where somebody came, maybe James Harrison. The former Steeler is the best story I've ever seen. Okay, it's not Bond. It's James Harrison. He was cut 5 times, and he's going to Canton. Okay? Played in the World League that I played in. There's a World League football card to him. Okay? I mean, he's the Baltimore Ravens, of all people, cut him. And so that's probably the best linebacker story I've ever seen. Did I even think the Steelers cut him once? And then brought his ass back. Just a great player. Zach Bond's a great story, but DeJean's a great find. You know, it may turn out that he's the best player on that defense. That's how good that kid is. Or I think, you know, I told you I think that Jalen Carter could be better than Jerome Brown. Is it possible that Cooper DeJean could be better than Brian Dawkins? Or more versatile than Brian Dawkins? Great question. Like a Cam Chancellor? A John Lynch, but more speed? He's more versatile than Brian Dawkins. He's not the hitter Dawkins is. But, I mean, he can play, man. Okay, I'll make it make sense. How could Sil say Cooper DeJean could be the best player on the defense, but pay him nickel cornerback money? Okay, I'll make it make sense. The best tight end in pro football, and one of the major reasons that the Kansas City Chiefs have won 3 Super Bowls is because of Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce never made north of $15 million. He'll never make more money than anybody that makes the wide receiver position because he's a tight end. And he's boxed into being a tight end. That's why. No matter how good you are, dude, the NFL has pay scales for positions, not who you are. He's not going to change the market. Nickel corners make the highest paid guys $13 million. He would make 15. They're not going to go north of that and pay him 30. Why would they? When the market doesn't tell you that. That's how it makes sense. What you don't understand is stars don't get paid. You get paid by your position. And if you happen to be the best player at your position, you go to market money. The NFL controls salaries by your position. Do you understand that? He doesn't understand that. Here, I'll show you how this works. And you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about, why it's more important for him to play at corner. Salaries in NFL per position. In NFL per position. It's not by star. Okay? It's not. It's not by the stars. Here's a great example of it. Dak Prescott makes $60 million. It's the market. 55. Saquon Barkley makes 20. Okay? Remind yourself of that. Okay? Think of that for a second. Okay? Here's another one. So the most valuable player on the Eagles makes 20. Jamar Chase makes 40. Wait a minute. Am I under the... Do I really believe that Jamar Chase had a better year than Saquon Barkley and more impactful than Saquon Barkley? Wait a minute. How could a wide receiver on the perimeter who touches the ball 4 times a game at most makes $40 million a year? Because he's a wide receiver. Pay scale wideouts. Tight end. George Kittle just signed a $19 million deal. Wait a minute. George Kittle's one of the most important players in the 49er offense. Then why did Debo make $25 million? Because he's a wideout. That doesn't change. They control. Here's another one. Tristan Wirfs makes $28 million as a left tackle. Both the Eagle tackles are around 25, 24, right? Okay. Here's a center, Creed Humphrey. He makes $18 million. Why? Because he's a center. He's the top paid center in the league. He's the top paid player at that position. Myles Garrett makes 40, edge rushing. Big money at the edge. Crosby signed a big deal. Wait a minute, though. Chris Jones, $31 million. Isn't Chris Jones one of the greatest tackles in the National Football League? Why is he only making 31? Why doesn't he make $50 million or $45 million like Myles Garrett does? Because he's a tackle. Now, again, what's going to blow up the market is going to be this. Edge rushers are still going to continue to escalate. And next year when they pay, they're not paying him 40. They'll pay him 35. Jalen Carter. Outside linebacker, $28 million. The kid Allen, Josh Allen. Here's another one. Inside linebacker, $20 million. Derek Stingley, corner, 30. And here goes down to Cooper DeJean's spot. Kirby Joseph, that's another safety, makes 20. And then you go down to the slot. The kid from Chicago makes 13. That's how you're paid. That's how you're paid. It's not who you are. They control salaries by your position. You don't know that? So somebody goes like this, you think of a guy like Travis Hunter is like the most important player in the Kansas City Chiefs offense, which he is. He never made more than $15 million a year. And he was better than any wide receiver. Why do you think people bitched about it? That those guys are being targeted like wide receivers, and tight ends always complained about it. Pay scale never was equal to the guys. Get this. Devontae Smith makes more than Travis Hunter or Travis Kelce. I mean, that's how they control salaries. So that's why when you see Cooper, now, here's the thing. And by the way, your designation on what a team puts you at, if they put Cooper at corner, Cooper DeJean, cornerback, okay, that's a pay scale thing for the NFLPA. They put him in the slot, $13 million. That's a $27 million pay cut. Or 17, excuse me. $17 million pay cut. We say it here. I don't know what happens. So wait a minute. Let me get this right before I bring Xander on here. I got to ask one more time. So how would you feel if you were a football player and the coach went like this to you? Right, Z? Psst, you ain't playing in the Super Bowl. What do you mean I'm not playing in the Super Bowl? By the way, we're not even going to fucking activate you. What? Yeah, you don't even have to dress. Here's a ticket. Go sit in a booth. What? Then they go like this. Psst. You don't have to show up to any organized team activities. They'd be like Xander going, Sills, show up like this week for your shows. You know what I used to do to this guy? How come I don't have my show posted? What the hell's going on here? And by the way, Xander, now you see why I look at depth charts and I look at that stuff when I was a player, because I read into every little bullshit that goes on, and everyone knows when you go, how come my name is third on the depth chart? Holy shit. That means I'm getting less reps, and that means I'm getting less time on film. That means Vic doesn't see me a lot when he's going over techniques in team meetings. They're talking to two other guys. I get 5 reps, they get 25. Shit. That's the difference with a player's observation on what OTAs mean. Bro, you make the team now, not in September. Do you understand that? I don't think people understand. everything you do now is making the team. Because by the time July camp comes, they've already got their mindset on who you are, what you can do. Oh, you make it. No, you don't make it in July. That shit's, dude, if you get to camp and you're second team or third team, writing's on the wall, you're out. All right. Bryce Puffin stuff. What happens to old Bryce Puffin stuff? $51 million turd is on the Eagle team. Without further ado, hey, man, I happen to agree with Ed Kratz where I don't believe they're cutting the guy, but something's up. Is this guy going to be a June 1st or June 1st casualty with the cap? Let's bring in our boy, Big C. Xander.
What's up, Big Sil?
Going, brother?
Good, man. I missed you yesterday on the show. I wasn't on yesterday.
I got it, man. And believe me, that killed me too because, but again, I got to tell you, the two guys were, Mark Holmes, he texts me, he goes, how was that? Was I little? I go, nope. About time.
Yeah, he texted me last night too. He texted me. I love Mark. He's hilarious. He texted me last night. Yeah. He texted me.
I told him it's about time you fought back.
Yeah. He says, was that spicy enough for you guys? I said, you're a champ, Mark. It was great.
I do. So, Xander, what's your takeaway with them, the way they're looking at Bryce Huff right now in camp? I mean, you know, people go like this. It's OTAs. What do you learn? Well, what I did learn is this. They don't want him there.
Yeah, you're right. And you put the things together with the Super Bowl and OTAs. They don't even want this guy in the building. They don't even want his stench permeating the NovaCare complex or anything. The team plane, the practice facility, anywhere. They want Bryce Huff up and out of there. Get him out of here, as Flexen and Steppen would say. So he's done. I think Bryce Huff is done. And it's funny because the edge rusher room is really thin, man. So he must really, they must really want him out of there because, it's not like he's coming into the wide receiver room, and there's dudes in front of him. Like there's nobody there. It's Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt. That's it. And a bunch of T-Moose, so he should be able to find his place there. And it doesn't look like they're even going to give him that opportunity. Now, maybe he shows up, but I'm kind of with you, and I'm kind of with John too. If he doesn't show up again, the writing's on the wall.
Oh, absolutely. I think the writing's on the wall here. All right. Well, I was so interested in what John said in his takeaway. It's a great observation by him, by the way. I'm so glad he's got eyes on the practice, which helps me out so much in figuring out the direction that they're going in. Because again, like, what do you call it? State TV? I love when you call it that. The Eagle, like the Twitter account, the X account.
State
Xander
media.
calls it State TV, and I love that because it is State TV.
Yeah, it is. No, there's no doubt it is. They're back out there tomorrow. We'll have more State TV.
We will, and I'll tell you why they're doing.
Be careful, you don't want to upset the people in the chat. All you nerds in the chat love State TV. They love to be lied to.
Oh,
that's what they want, Big Sills.
Oh, they do, man. I know they love the lies, especially M. Reyes. He lives for the lies.
I'm surprised they haven't hired M. Reyes to facilitate those lies.
Absolutely, man. He could just be posting away. Algorithm would be going through the roof with M. Reyes. He'd be.
Wait, who are we kidding? They're not lying. They're Super Bowl champions. This is the one time State TV works. All right, this is the one time State TV works.
I got it, man. Hey, so when John said this, I was like, wow, they really don't like the guys in the room right now. What's your take? We said it yesterday. I don't know if you heard it, but I was like, dude, you're not going to move that guy, Cooper DeJean, outside now when you got a wide open right field for him right now to get out there and play corner. You're never going to do it. And now all of a sudden you're hearing that, and they're kind of playing around potentially Zach Bond, maybe even at the edge and doing some edge rushing out there. That told me this, Xander. Tell me if you think I'm wrong with this. Are they trying to carve out a spot for Jahad Campbell when he comes back, that you play him inside linebacker and you put him in that, his natural position off ball, and you play the more versatile player, giving him the ability to edge because they don't believe they have the edge outside of Jalix Hunt and also Nolan Smith, And you're talking about playing that guy at corner. It looks to me like they don't really like some of the guys in the room. Or am I off?
Well, I don't think you're off, but this is what I'm picking up from it, from the way they're doing this, is that are we entering more of an era, Sills, where positionless defenders are going to become more prominent than, like, hear me out, right? You look at the edge rusher room, it's not so great. But if you look at your front seven guys, you got Bond, you got Dean, you got Campbell, you got Ajomo, you got Carter, you got Davis, you got Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt. You might look at them and just say, all right, I'll put Ajomo outside every once in a while if I need to. I can, have Jordan play the 3 technique if we have the right amount of edge rushers on the field or the right amount of pass rushers on the field. I think they're going more toward that positionless defense, and it kind of is highlighted, Sills, by the signings that they've made recently, right? Look at Zach Bond. We never thought they would sign a linebacker for this type of money, let alone a guy that was almost the first team all. Right, and they draft more of them. Zach Bond kind of fits that mold of a guy that has versatility, that can be moved all over the place. I think that Vic Fangio is moving more toward this, and that's why you're going to see Philly maybe make some moves on defense that you look and you're like, maybe that's what's happening with the edge rusher room, Sills. Maybe they're looking and they're like, we'll get some other guys out there. We'll get a Jomo on the outside. We'll get maybe even Ty Robinson to play outside. I don't know. Like, I think they might be looking for more of that positionless player, and I don't hate it. Jahad Campbell, that's certainly what he is. That's what Nakobe Dean is. That's what Cooper DeJean is. You have very few. You're having less and less guys that are coming in as, I'm a cornerback, or I'm a defensive tackle, or I'm a defensive end, or I'm a linebacker. They can do more things, and I think I look at that as a good thing because, what do you always say? What does John always said? There's, we don't all agree on everything, but there is one thing we do all agree on. You need great players in the NFL. Okay. A coach can only do so much, and they're getting great players. It's just not, it doesn't always line up in the right spots. And I'm wondering if they just go more positionless and get the best players in the field, and Vic can make some hay with that.
But you know what? Their definition of great players different than the Cowboys' definition of great player. Follow me here. I said something earlier. Everyone got their little panties in a bind when I said Josh Sweat is like the face of what that defense was a year ago. And everyone's like, why are you talking? No, because they're assuming Josh Sweat, I'm putting him in a room with like Micah Parsons. That's not what I'm doing. Their definition of a great player is this, isn't it? Is he a 3-down guy? I don't have to take him off the field. He doesn't have to be exceptional on the run. He doesn't have to be exceptional in pass rush. And he doesn't have to be exceptional when it comes to dropping in coverage. But you know what I want him to be? Very good at all 3. Right. Isn't that their definition of a great player? I see
what you're saying, but like, you're not going to sit here and tell me Josh Sweat was the face of the defense.
But you're going to have to use hold on. You're going to have to use 2 players to replace them.
That's true. You're not wrong about that. But, I mean, if you look at it like I just said, maybe you get more with Jomo, who plays in a more versatile role. Maybe you get a Ty Robinson, a Jahad Campbell, that they move them all around. I don't know. I hear what you're saying. All right. But again, I just
I'm not saying to you that he's one of the great – like, look at Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is a tremendous pass rusher and can drop in coverage. But, Xander, what's the one thing he fucking can't do? He can't play the run. Well, what's the identity of the problem with the Cowboys? They can't play the run. You think it's any coincidence that their star player embodies the one thing he can't do that they can't do as a unit?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean,
it's a good point.
He drops great. He rushes great. They get killed for the last 4 years against the run. Why? Because the star on that team can't do the one thing that like the Philadelphia Eagles a year ago. I will tell you, in my opinion, Josh Sweat had more impact than Micah Parsons did on his defense. Why? Because he played the run, he could drop in coverage, and he was a guy that was a versatile player that could play all up and down the front. Was he better? Is he considered one of the top 5? No. But for what Vic does, you just said it. Dude, now they're playing around with Cooper going outside, Cooper going back to the nickel. They're playing around with Bond. That's their definition of greatness.
They're not looking for it, right? I think you're right. I actually think you're right about this. I understand what you're saying. I think you're right about this. They'd rather have a guy who can do three things in the middle than Micah Parsons, who can rush the passer great but leaves liabilities on the field.
That's why Huff's home. Because he does one thing.
Right. He does one thing.
He can't drop. He can't play the run. How many times did you come out and say this to me, Xander, at the beginning of the season? Sills, that guy's a liability. He's a liability on first and second down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so, okay.
So wait, with that being said, though, with what you're saying, does that add pressure to Jordan Davis to take the next step as more of a three-down player? Even if he's not great, like you just said, doesn't have to be great, but he has to be able to be on the field as a three-down player, or else the Eagles might opt to go a different direction.
I liked what Ed Kratz said about him, because I did think he played better the last 5 games of the year.
He did.
I thought he showed up in pass
Ed
rush.
was a little optimistic. I mean, I'll say that. Ed was a little optimistic on what Jordan can be, but I don't think he was far off. I mean, I'm not saying his optimism couldn't be reached. So I think it could be, but Jordan's an interesting one. He's one of my favorite storylines actually of the year, kind of coming in just to see what they do with him and how they use him.
I am more optimistic today after hearing John than I was yesterday about your defense, Xander, and I'll tell you why here too. I mean, name me one player outside of Jordan Davis a year ago that was a one-dimensional player that you had on your football team.
Offense or defense?
No, defense. Starting because the defense is what we're concerned with now. It's the offense.
Quinion. I mean, Quinion didn't do much outside of what he was asked to do.
No, but he didn't have to come off the field.
No, he didn't have to come off the field. You're talking one-dimensional, can't play all 3 downs. Okay.
But the only guy is Jordan Davis.
Only guy. That's it.
Everyone else, no situational substitution.
You can maybe argue Milton. Maybe.
Okay.
Milton was much better. Yeah.
They would bring in Morrow for pass rush and nickel. Absolutely. Okay. That's probably fair. Okay. But really, most of the guys, you didn't have to have substitutions. That, to me, is their definition of great players.
That's a good point for you.
It's just
that's a really good point for you. Yeah.
Now, see, when people look at Myles, that's a great football player. Okay. Well, the Eagles don't have a ton of those guys, except for this. I'm going to make this point to you here. Who do you think's a better athlete? Travis Hunter or Cooper DeJean?
Whew. It would be tough for me to say Cooper DeJean, but why do I feel like it's Cooper DeJean?
Me too.
Is that the Eagle fan in me, or is he a better athlete?
No. Well,
I think Cooper DeJean is one of the best athletes on the planet right now.
I'm not, and I will tell you, I look at him. So you're telling me this, Xander. You want to pay that guy fucking $35-40 million in a couple of years? You're telling me you're going to play him maybe on first and second down in the slot, and then on third and long, you're going to maybe flip him over and play out there on the corner? Shit. I'm paying that guy big dough, dog.
Yeah, man. I'm with you.
He's a better football player.
Now he's down at the Jersey. Now he's down at the Jersey Shore, shredding the beach bars with everybody, getting all the honeys wrapped around him at the Deauville. Cooper DeJean runs Philly right now, Big Sills.
I'll tell you what my grandma would say, running around with whores. I mean, I like it, man. Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Let me tell you a story. My aunt's listening, so she'll know this. So I brought this one chick home one time. Holy cow. So I bring this chick home. She had lipstick, everything, big giant cans and this and that. And, so I bring her in the house. We're sitting down having food. My grandmother, she goes into the next room. Do me a favor. Don't ever bring any whores back here to this house. I'm sitting there going like, Grandma, she's listening to you. She goes, I don't care. I'm like, okay, man. I just, I know. My grandfather's laughing. He's looking at, he's down, got his,
no comment from me. All right.
No
I can
comment,
I may or may not have similar experiences. Wait. Can I just address? Look at Prince. This guy finds a way to cry about everything. Look at him. What makes Cooper DeJean better than Travis? Didn't we both hedge it? They're both great athletes, Prince. Shut up, Prince. Come on, Prince.
This guy's taking super L's lately, man.
Oh, man.
Prince, you're like the supernova L.
He's been on a legendary losing streak, Prince.
Man, has he been bad lately. Between him and Twiz and M. Reyes, these guys should start their own show.
Yeah, but Twiz is a little bit. Twiz has more variability. Twiz will hit you with a good comment and a trash comment. Prince has just been down low for months.
I think he needs to go back to lockup there after the
Yeah,
January 6th
yeah, he
shit.
needs
I
to
don't
get
know
back
what's
in
going
there.
on with
Yeah, maybe the food in there was better or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, hey, maybe those grilled cheeses and that Kool-Aid was better there. Not that I know. Hey,
Yeah,
all right,
right.
I got one. What are you more concerned about? You think that? Well, how about this? Because, well, I can ask you because you have great sense. Are you more concerned about corner or edge on what they're looking at right now with, and how Vic is looking at the roster? What do you think he sees a bigger problem?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, based on the way you kind of just laid out what they're thinking maybe on the defensive line, it makes me feel better about that room. But if you're going to go more traditional defense, yeah, that edge room's pretty shoddy, dude. I mean, let's be real. After Nolan Smith, and I'm high on Jalix Hunt, you got a whole lot of question marks. And even the main guy, Nolan Smith, is a question mark. So at least at the corner, you have two, like we just talked about. You got great athletes. You got Quinion and Cooper. So, like, at the very least, I have two good corners. Now, if you only have two corners on the field, you feel too good about those two guys. When you have three, can those two guys make the third guy blend in a little bit? Like, I'm having a hard time saying corner here just because I feel like the athletes in the room are so much better or more equipped to do more and handle more. So, I'd probably go edge rusher.
Do you think that Howie makes a move to, you know, I was going to recognize this bitch, but I'm not. I don't know.
Man, I love Prince, man. He's such a wussy, but I love him. He says, who's crying? I'm asking a question, you two bitches.
Man, you are just rolling in L's today, dude.
Princess
I mean,
crying like a princess.
No doubt.
Princess,
man, you're taking serious L's. You see, Ray is hiding. He doesn't want to get hit with shrapnel right now. That's why he's fucking hiding. He's in hiding, and so is Twiz in hiding here. All right, so let's go here with this. The offense, Kevin Patullo. How about when he said yesterday or 2 days ago, I'm the number one voice in the room? What'd you make of that?
Good. What do you want me to? What do you want him? What do you want me to want him to say? Go up there and ride the fence?
What's your boyfriend's? What's your boyfriend's role?
What's that?
What's your boyfriend's role?
Who, Nick?
Who, Nick?
Yeah.
I know you forget him. I know you forget him sometimes.
I love how you contradicted yourself harder yesterday than maybe I've ever heard in my life. When you talked about how coaching is so much more than meets the eye. And I'm like, hello, Nick Sirianni, Sills.
Oh, he don't fit that role. Here's my definition of Nick Sirianni. Yes, a boss. Yes. What? Okay. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to fire? What do you want me to demote? Hey, you want me to glaze over Dallas? No problem. I'm there, boss. Yes, sir. You know why State TV is going to have, dude, you know what they're rolling out right now with State TV? This new campaign of how we love Dallas Goedert. It's so fucking phony.
They are rolling. You're right about that. They have totally rolled that out. And as predicted, all of you nerds in the chat are eating it up. You're eating it up. All of you, 90% of you.
It's like State TV's they're rolling out all this campaign. We love Dallas. We love Dallas. You see Dallas, what an important guy. Kevin Patullo, oh my God, having him back. You're going like this. You told the guy to take a fucking $4 million pay cut. You gave him a 1 year, and you said, you have 1 year and you're out of here. And you know what Xander was saying because of the State TV? Well, maybe, if he has a great year and it's the number one thing. Fuck that. He's out.
You said the same thing earlier this offseason.
Wait a minute here. Well, the only way he was coming back is if he took a pay cut.
That's true.
The only guy that took a
pay get more than 500 yards, guy. You want to make $14 million? Go out there and dominate.
Who had the most catches in the playoffs?
All right. Good.
But here,
for a season.
Wait a second. So
by that logic, Nolan Smith should be the highest paid edge rusher in the league.
Every single person on the Philadelphia Eagles, including Howie, the head coach, the running back, linebacker, fucking guys who left all got raises. Dallas, sit down. Now we're rolling this out. We love you, Dallas. Your banners. I'm surprised there's not a fucking parade down Broad Street, the Dallas Goddard parade. And all these guys like Em Reyes and Twiz and all these fuckers are in here going like this. Yeah. And you're like, holy shit. You'll buy anything, man. I mean, you'll buy anything.
Dallas Goddard's going to have a big year.
Yeah, because he's on a one-year deal. He wants everyone, and he's auditioning.
No, I'm sensing it. I'm sensing the Goddard year coming.
If he has a big year, Xander, I would offer him a contract to come back if I were them.
This is what's going to happen this year, in my opinion, offensively. Teams are going to focus a lot more on Saquon. They're going to use a little bit of that blueprint that Spagnuolo put out to slow him down. They're not going to be entirely successful, but maybe Barkley goes from 2,000 to 1,600 yards. All right. Your next big targets are the wide receivers. Jalen mastered that deep throw to A.J. Brown last year. That's probably going to get watched on tape a little bit. I think you're going to see a lot more second year of Jalen manning the progressions at the line of scrimmage. I think you're going to see a lot more across the middle and a lot more usage of Dallas Goedert simply because everybody else is going to take the attention from all the great players on the opposing defenses. I really do. You know, and now that Jalen has taken, I believe, another step as a quarterback, especially last year to this year with reading progressions and doing everything at the line of scrimmage, I think Dallas Goedert's going to be a much bigger part of the offense this year. I really do. I think he's going to have a chance to have 800-plus yards.
Okay, so, like, if you're Kevin Patullo, what changes are you looking at again?
Well, you're not changing anything. You heard Shady McCoy. And I think that's what it should be. You know, I heard people, like, try and make something of that. I'm like, what? Jalen Hurts has been to 2 Super Bowls. Why would this not be his offense? It is his offense. That's a good thing.
That's not well,
did you hear what Shady said? Doesn't sound like you did.
Okay, tell me.
Shady was on FS1 on that facility or the show, show that he's on, with Emmanuel.
I like that show.
Chase Dan. It's a good show. It's a good show. They do a solid job. Not all Philly fans like it, but it's a solid show. And he said, he kind of caught himself. He's like, A.J. Brown told me, and then he corrected himself and said, the players, some players I've talked to told me it doesn't matter who the offensive coordinator is. That's Jalen Hurts' offense. He dictates what goes on in that offense. And that's why nobody's really concerned about Kevin Patullo coming in at all. So that's what he said. I think that's obvious. I think that's a good thing. It is a good thing. Now, where I sense some maybe resentment is that A.J. says that knowing, Jalen's the reason I'm not getting the ball, versus an offensive coordinator. So, but look, that's part of being a leader. That's part of being a quarterback. Jalen, one of the hardest things that I don't think gets talked about enough for Jalen Hurts' job specifically is, it's one thing to have a bunch of great players. It's a whole nother thing to manage and handle great players and egos and talent and fame and all of the different things that come with having A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Saquon Barkley and the O-line, right? You got one offense, you got one guy you got to feed. That's easy. That's easy. Get him his 10 targets a game. You got A.J., Devontae, Saquon, O-line. That's a big part of his job. I'm in media, all right? And I dealt with Sills and all these other people that have worked with JAKIB in the past. I got news, everybody. There are a lot of egos, all right? It's a hard part of the job is managing all of them. So I think that's a big part of what he has to do, and I think he's done a pretty good job at it. Somebody pointed out this morning, it's like, boy, AJ has done some crying here and there, and I think AJ's misunderstood. I don't think it's too big of a deal, but the dude's got like really good freaking numbers for 3 years in Philly. All right, like it's not like he's down at 780 yards and is like, I want more targets. Guy's got 1,500 yards, 2 of his 3 years here. I mean, come on. That's pretty good.
Bro, 4 years ago, I thought he was like the 25th best receiver in the league.
Yeah.
Now he's the second or first best receiver in the fucking league.
I thought John was way off on that.
That's what that 3 years in Philly has done for him. So when you're talking about that, there's no doubt the narrative has completely changed on that. You said something, Benner, and believe it or not, that's a shockingly great take by you. I would say
add it to the long list.
Oh no, I'm 5-0 so far out of the gate. I'm fucking having a great 2025.
You're like the 2023 Eagles right now, dude. You collapsed last year.
Hold on. Why don't you put the kid fucking over at the corner? Boom. There they are practicing. I go, why don't you move guys around? Boom. There they are. I'm like, I am fucking smoking this year.
You better hope you bounce back because you can't. Another year like last year, well, the Philly will have your head on a block.
Won't happen. I'm super sills right now. But that's a great take by you. I'll show you what you did. Hey, speaking of super chats, we'll read them at the end. Right here with Super Sills and
Wait,
Big
who am I,
Big.
Sills? Who am I? Who cares?
Phil Sims. I know. That was a great take by him. You said something great about Jalen's role, and it is true. I made a comparison to him, I'd say about a year ago, and I compared him to Steph Curry and Dwayne Wade. And hear me out here. Well, when Kevin Durant went to Golden State and when LeBron and all those great players went down to Miami to all play together, Ray Allen, all those guys, the one guys in the room that kept doing this, hey, this is your team, KD, Draymond Green, all those guys, they had to do so much to manage egos. And Dwayne Wade did the same thing. LeBron, this is your team. You guys, this is all about you. When everyone knew the leaders of those teams were Dwayne Wade and Steph Curry, everyone knew that. But to manage egos, you're right with this. He does a great job. This is one thing that Donovan McNabb couldn't do.
Wait, you don't think LeBron stole that team from Dwayne Wade?
No, because you know why? In the end, Dwayne Wade got two championships out of it.
Yeah,
and he's got
three. Show up.
Yeah, well, what did LeBron do prior to going to Miami? Nothing.
Yeah, well, he did lead Vucevic and company to a NBA Finals. I mean, that was one of the worst Finals teams I've ever seen in my life.
Jefferson and them dudes.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man, that was bad. That was bad. But yeah, it's funny. I don't know if you heard. No, you probably didn't because I know you were on the air down in Tampa. But in the 10 o'clock hour today, after Birds 365, we were kind of talking about this basketball thing, and I'm like, because I'm watching the final or the playoffs right now. And, everybody's like, oh, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Tyrese Halliburton and Anthony Edwards. And, it's all good and everything. But I'm like, man, these stars in the NBA today, they're not that captivating. They're not like, so I brought up, I said back in my day and everybody had an aneurysm. Like, yeah, I'm younger than you. I don't really give a shit, but I watched the NBA in 2012, dude, 13, 14, Kevin Durant versus Steph Curry in the West, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, all these James Harden was unbelievable early in his career like that. I mean, I don't feel that gravitas at all from the NBA right now. Like, I'm watching this dude, Shea, and he won the NBA MVP. And I'm not saying he's not a good player.
SGA's not moving the needle for me either.
Player, but he's just boring to me. Like, I don't see it. And again, he's doing, he's doing good things, but the NBA is just not drawing me in right now. Tyrese Halliburton?
No.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, no. That's why I say about storylines. Like, bro, when
you're so right about that.
When you look at a guy like Shohei Ohtani, and you're watching this, and you watch the shitty job that Major League Baseball does at promoting that guy. I mean, that's Babe Ruth, but he's doing it at the same time. Babe Ruth never did it. And you put him in a lineup, you'd be like, who the fuck is that? Same thing, everything. There's an identity crisis in the NBA, and there's an identity crisis in the NBA. There is no doubt about it. Baseball and the NBA are struggling with identity. Think about the NFL, for instance. Guys wear helmets, and you could pick Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield. Name me any guy who's not one of the top guys. You would know who Caleb Williams is. Sitting in a mall, you would know who these guys are.
Well, you know who missed the opportunity this year in the playoffs, in the NBA playoffs, right?
Who?
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah,
you just laid out perfectly the storylines that are needed. You have the guys I laid out: Shea, Tyrese. Some of these guys that are a little bit more of a modern day superstar, a little bit more different, reserved. They're not as You had Anthony Edwards, who could have been that old school in your face, just like he was in the Lakers series earlier in the playoffs. And he totally went to sleep at the wheel in these last couple series. Hasn't done anything. He did shit in the series versus the Thunder. He kind of sulked, didn't take shots, didn't take ownership of the game. If I were him, I would have been in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's face all series long. That would have created a great storyline. But they don't do that.
How about
he went to sleep at the wheel. I was upset with him.
How about this? If you had to buy a ticket in Philly and it was a ticket to see Jalen Hurts play, a ticket to see Joel Embiid play, or a ticket to see Bryce Harper play, who do you think resonates the most in Philadelphia?
Hurts, Harper, or who? Joel?
Yeah. They're the three biggest stars.
It's Hurts, and it's not close. I'm sorry. It's
The
not
other two
close,
have MVP awards.
Yeah, well, it's not close. I'm taking Jalen Hurts all day. I really am. I mean that. I mean that fully. If you give me that offer right now, I'll take the Jalen Hurts ticket 20 times out of 20, 100 times out of 100. Joel Embiid doesn't excite me at all. All right, I'm so done with
NBA MVP.
I didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what does that mean,
you're not wrong.
But he's also altered my thoughts on sports as a whole, where it's like, you love to talk about Josh Allen and these guys and how great they are. And I appreciate it. They are awesome players. They're fun to watch. They're great for the game. They're great football players. But if you give me the option of like those type of accolades or what Jalen's done year in and year out, which has led to great team success, I'm choosing this every single time. I don't care about 2903 as much as we joke about it and talk about it. I don't care about any of those things. I want the team to win. I watched Joel Embiid win the MVP. Sixers haven't made it out of the second round. I became less of a fan of the Sixers through one of the best players they've ever had in their franchise's history because of the failure to show up in the big moments. Okay. Jalen is the opposite of that.
So
now, Bryce deserves a little love because he does show up in the big moments. But, at one point here, this Phillies team with this $300 million payroll is going to have to get the job done, or else they're floating in Sixers territory too.
I'm going to steal something from Anthony here. I'd rather go pay to see Allen Iverson play than Jalen Hurts.
I see that super chat about Allen Iverson. It's a good point by Anthony Wilson.
I mean, here,
Iverson was unbelievable.
He
was early for me, but I remember when I was younger, growing up, and I started watching ball, and my dad would put me on to Allen Iverson, dude. Like, Allen Iverson was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I'm going to and you tell me if you agree or disagree with this on how you see sports now, because Philly 500 brought this up yesterday when we were going back and forth.
Yeah, and remind me, I'm going to let you get it out because I have a great point as well. And Iverson, similar to how I just talked about Embiid versus Hurts, but go ahead.
Okay, so Jalen Hurts, by how you have a metric and how you put a Hall of Famer in, he's not going to the Hall of Fame. However, his resume, if it continues to grow, his resume will.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some people look at the player like Allen. It's one of the or a guy like Lamar. He's truly one of the greatest players to ever play the sport. Does he have the accolades that Jalen has? Now, accolades in a team sport, it's tough because he had no part of being the number one defensive football team.
Right.
He had no part at building the team. Okay? He's surrounded by it. And that sounds like I'm penalizing him for it. I'm not. I'm putting context to it. Okay? That's context. It's not a rip to him. He landed in the right spot. I said this to you before. If Joe Burrow lands in New England with Bill Belichick back in the day, he might have 5 Super Bowls too. But because he's in Cincinnati, I don't give a fuck what they do there. He's never winning a Super Bowl. He sniffed it. That'll probably be the best and as far as they ever go again with him being there in Cincinnati because they can't sign guys like Trey Hendrickson because they need – see, look, here's the difference with Howie and with Duke Tobin. Howie's signing in a way trying to get Trey Hendrickson signed. Duke Tobin and Mike Brown are moving off him. Well, shit, you're not winning that way, man. You're just not winning. So when you look at Jalen Hurts, his body of work, number-wise, that's how you make it to the Hall of Fame. He's not Hall of Fame caliber. However, his resume, just like Aikman's.
Yeah, I think you're, Sills, I'm not saying I disagree fully here, but I'm not making that proclamation after 4 years of somebody's career. I'm sorry, I'm just not. I think Jalen Hurts has accomplished, and to your point about the resume, you're 100% spot on, but you're talking about a player who just had his first year of handling the line of scrimmage. Now, you can use that as a knock on him or not, but he is still ascending as a player. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not a Hall of Fame talent. I think Jalen does everything really well. I really do. I think and one of my favorite takes that you've ever had on JAKIB is Jalen's a smart football player. He sees the game the right way, right? And I'm not ready to go as far as you just went, but I hear I understand where you're going. I understand what you're saying with it.
Give me the Iverson take. I want to hear it before I give you this other one here.
The Iverson take is, one of the big reasons that I dislike Joel Embiid is you never felt it from him. Like Allen Iverson never won anything in Philly, but you talk to somebody in Philadelphia about Allen Iverson, 99% of them will love and remember and revere Allen Iverson for what he was in Philly, for who he still is in Philly, and for everything he brought to the city. When he was between those lines, you knew for 60 minutes he was going to give you his very best, his effort, everything top to bottom. You knew that. And even without winning, as much as that hurt Philly and as much as we wanted to win, you could live with it and love the player. Then you have Joel Embiid, a guy who's been more gifted than maybe any athlete we've had in this city in the last 50 years, and who squandered it time and time again, who slow walked up the court over and over again, who was a shrinking violet in certain playoff games, who hangs his head and sulks, who you don't know if he's fully committed to the city, to the team, to winning. It's a big difference. Both of those guys have never won. Both of those guys are supremely talented athletes. Both of those guys will be remembered very different from each other in the history books and certainly in the minds of Philadelphians.
I'll tell you what, if Allen Iverson were in Los Angeles, he'd have won all them NBA championships, and you'd be talking about him like Kobe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how great he is. I'm gonna make something to you. Then we'll get to the supers. I'm gonna say this about Jalen Hurts. I just realized, and you've kind of talked me into it. That passing offense has not evolved since 22. It's just not. Now let me finish it up here though. Jalen Hurts possibly has more trust in his coaching staff and in his ability to go with the approach that the organization, and he's bought in more than any quarterback in the National Football League has ever bought in outside of Patrick Mahomes. And you're starting to see buy-in in Buffalo by Josh Allen not throwing the ball as much. What did he do? He threw the ball less. He won the MVP award, okay? You know what Hurts does that's great? He trusts his guys to go, hey, throw the ball 19 times, 20 times. If it wins you 15 games in a row in a Super Bowl, the fuck do you care if you're throwing for 5,000 yards or 2,900 yards? What do you care? I mean, but you got to buy into that, Xander. Just like, you know what I don't think A.J. Brown buys into? Well, they're taking the ball out of my hands. Yeah, but we're winning. Yeah, well, that's not a buy-in. You know what he is? A.J. Brown is like 90% bought in. I think you're. I'm not saying the only reason he's bought in that 90% is because they're winning. That 10% though, no,
I think you're right. And I don't think that, but the difference between me and you on this take is, and maybe you agree with me. I'm not sure. You haven't said it. I don't want to speak for you, but I don't think it's a bad thing. Like A.J. Brown like I just said, gets in between those lines and is like, I don't give a shit who's across from me. I'm going to be open. I'm going to beat my man. He's going to want the ball. And if he didn't have that, would he be good? Would he be great? Would he work as hard as he does? Would he be in the shape that he's in? You know what I mean? And I think that is a natural human element that's part of what makes him good. If you're A.J. Brown, you want the ball. You can get 15 targets a game and you'll want 20. You could get 20, you'll want 25.
Nature
right? I don't think that's a bad thing, but I hear what you're saying. I mean, it is a little bit of a different, it's definitely a little bit of a different dynamic.
Play a game with me. One last question here.
Yep.
If you hadn't won the Super Bowl, how would this offseason be for him?
For who?
A.J. Brown.
If we didn't win?
Yeah.
I do agree that the conversation around this team would be a lot different. I think they'd be trying to evolve the passing game. I think there would have been more pressure on Hurts.
Would he be front and center leading the charge?
I don't know if he would have done it front and center, but I definitely think he would have done something. The thing I actually like this about AJ, but is that you could tell he always like has to say what's on his mind, even if he knows he shouldn't. He has to say something, like whether it's a one-word answer to the media, a social media post, something. He gets what he wants out across, and I think he would have done something, but I don't think it would have been a bad thing. I mean, look, this team. You don't want to be bottom five in anything. Last year was a perfect storm, and the team won the way that they did. It's not unfair for him to say, we might not win if we do the same thing again. Let's get better at what we weren't great at last year or what we didn't, excel at. We got great players. We got the personnel. We got the line. We got everything we need to do it. I do think the conversation would have been a little bit different. I do. I don't think it would have been like he wants out or anything, but I think he would have made a hard push to get, let's elevate this passing offense. Let's make this high-powered passing. I mean, you've talked about it. This team has a potential to be, like the greatest show on turf good.
Absolutely.
They do, and
do.
I don't think it's a bad thing to strive for that. I'm the kind of dude that they could put up 55 in the NFC title game, get to the locker room and still say, hey, man, we could have done this one play better. It's Nick Saban, same thought process. Remember, you're beating the team 55-3. There's 4 seconds left in the game. Breaks the headset, It's that mentality. That's the mentality of great players, of great people, of great humans.
I brought this up. I said, how many people think that the offense in the last 2 years have lived up to the expectations of the talent that you have? Everybody goes, they've lived up to it. And I was like, and I thought Phil said it perfectly. You were 30th in passing and still kicked the shit out of people. How do you not see there's more room for growth and for getting better? If that's the best you think you have with that group, that's underachieving. And they'll go, we won a Super Bowl. That's a team that should win 3.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see it as they didn't reach their potential. But if you micro in on the offense, I could understand, like we just talked about, AJ wants to be better at the things they're not good at. I'm sure, here's the one thing that I do get a kick out of. You say a lot of things on this show, and people get really pissed off at you. And then I think, some of the takes, I agree with the people. All right, I'm Big Sales as a knucklehead. And then there's other takes, though, where I'm like, I bet you if you asked Jalen Hurts that question, he would feel the same. He Absolutely. Would want to get better. He would want to improve. Jalen Hurts is a strive for greatness type of guy. Strive for greatness people don't settle. It doesn't matter what. He could have 5,000 passing yards and the 2,000 rusher. He would still find things he wants to be
Brady
better
ever settled?
No. And I don't think Jalen will ever settle. I think that is the single greatest attribute of Jalen Hurts. And you look at what he's done in 4 years. You look at how he's getting better from a talent perspective and what he's doing to manage the game as a quarterback.
It's great take.
I mean, that's why I said to you a little bit ago about the Hall of Fame take. I'm not quite ready to say he's not a Hall of Fame talent because I watched Tom Brady play his best football at 42. Now, I'm not sitting here saying you that Jalen has the inherent talent that Brady has, although I think he could get to that point. I think that process, that commitment to seeking out where I can improve and not only knowing what it is, but working your balls off to complete it is what makes greatness. And I think Jalen has that through and through from top to bottom 100% of the time. And I think that's going to carry him a very long way.
Let's get to these supers, my friend.
Let's do it. Appreciate everybody. By the way, hit that like button for Big Sills.
Absolutely, guys. I really appreciate you guys bringing this in. Please hit that like button.
Good segment today, Sills. Let's go. We were off yesterday. I missed Big Sills yesterday.
Me
Big
too,
Easy
man.
says,
I hate this segment.
Big Easy 215. What's up, brother? He says, Sills, 30th passing. Why don't you ever mention time of possession? 33 minutes a game, first in the NFL. Pure domination benefits your defense and keeping them fresh.
Okay, you were great. No one's debating you weren't a great running attack. You weren't 30th in time of possession because of your passing game. You were 30th in possession because of your running game. So, yeah, thank you very much for
I don't think that's
solidifying my take.
I don't get why people get so mad at you when you say that's not an opinion. That's a fact. They were the 31st ranked passing. It's not a big deal. It's okay to look at that and say,
Super Bowl.
Exactly. We still won. We don't need to justify it. But Sills is allowed to say, hey, they can get better in that area. Like I just said, I bet you if you had Jalen Hurts in a room and said, can you
No
get
doubt.
better here? He'd say, hell yeah. Same with AJ.
Absolutely.
Same with the offensive
wanna
line.
get-
Same with
Do
everybody.
you not think the Eagles want to get better in that too?
Absolutely.
Of course they do.
100%. Anthony, what's up, brother? He says, I didn't. Passing needs to be at least 10th.
10th, I'll tell you what, Anthony.
I don't want to put a number on it. I really don't.
But Anthony, if you got around 10 to 15 and you're in there, you're going to win every ball game.
Yeah, but what's that mean for the running game? What's that mean for the defense? Like, there's too many factors for me to just say, I want the team to be 10th. Like,
No.
what if the running game is so good that they don't need it any again?
and
they're 24th,
Well, I want it to look kind of like the Ravens with the number one defense.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that. But again,
Let me ask
I'd
you
rather
this.
them
If the
do what
Ravens-
wins than do what I
If the
want.
If the Ravens had the Eagles' number one defense of a year ago, would they have won the Super Bowl?
Lamar
41.
would have choked. Lamar would have choked. Jalen doesn't choke. Best
He's
thing
gonna-
that ever happened to Jalen Hurts was getting benched in the national championship at the University of Alabama. He is built for the moment. Jack Dwight checks in, $5. Thank you, brother. No QB has more around him than Hurts. His position group is the only group with no Pro Bowler on offense last season. Team carrying him.
Jack, so
I don't agree with that at all.
Xander makes a point. No, Xander's point will always be, how many times have we seen great football teams have great players around them and they don't get it done? So if a quarterback and a personality like that would say, well, Troy Aikman goes, great O-line, great wideout, great running back. They carried me to 3 Super Bowl wins, and I'm one of the Hall of Famers now. I don't know how that's a bad take.
Right.
Bro.
No, I
I'm good
I
with
just don't
that.
agree with this line of thinking. I mean, I get what people are saying, but again, where's Lamar's ring? Where's Allen's ring? I mean, people need players around them to win. That's what you need in the NFL. I mean, again, whatever.
That's what you
Anthony
need to win
Wilson.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not just
Again,
win.
it sounds like Jack Dwight would rather have the Joel Embiid stats, all right, and take the MVPs and those in the passing yards and do all that and feel better that, Jalen's getting the most out of our receiver. Jack, you take that and enjoy that. I want the dude that wins us Super Bowls.
Jack, you have to remember, once he closed that deal on February 9th, I came out that Monday and said, you can't fucking not bring in, he's a champion now. I don't care how it looks. You just can't dismiss that now.
Anthony Wilson says, Hurts equals good, not great talent, Hall of Fame resume.
Yeah.
I'd up him. I'd say great talent.
I'm with you, Anthony.
Not top 5 talent. Great talent, definitely Hall of Fame resume through only 4 years. That's insane to think about. 4 years of starting. How many years did Brady start in the NFL? 22.
Yeah, but
Again, I'm not saying Jalen's going to play that long, but Kirk Cousins has played for. Dak Prescott's going into his 10th year. Patrick Mahomes is in his 9th year.
But what Hurts does, he's not a modern day quarterback. He's a quarterback for that football team, and he's the perfect fit for that. Like I said, do I think that Joe Burrow could go in there and win a Super Bowl? No. I do not think that Josh Allen.
The dynamic would be different. Yeah, that's
it
where
would be a different approach.
Anthony Wilson checks in. Xander, that team Iverson led to the finals was worse than the Cavs team LeBron led. LeBron had a couple low-end all-stars on that team, Big Z and Mo. And he might be right. I have to look at what that.
Anthony,
I know that team.
Did they win game 1 or game 2 out west?
I think they won. Yeah, I think it was game 1. No, was it game 2?
I forget what they went into the Great Western Forum and they won.
It was 2001. That was 2001, right?
Did they win game 1 or 2? Was that one, Xander, that they won? They went out there and they won. And that was during the Kobe and Shaq, like great teams too. That Iverson went out there.
Sixers won game 1.
And Iverson led the way.
Yep, and they won it in overtime.
That crossover is one of the greatest moves I've ever
48
seen.
48 points. 48 points.
For Iverson and I get.
Yep.
You know what Kobe always said? He goes, toughest guy I ever played against was
game 1 overtime. There you go.
Yeah.
I love through and through Philly people that know everything about Philly sports. They won game 1. Checked in right away. Appreciate all you guys. 48 from Iverson, going to my point earlier about Allen Iverson, right?
Out west against that Laker team.
Exactly. Against Kobe, prime Kobe. Yeah.
I know. Prime
Kevin Shanahan. Prime Kobe, baby. Prime. Devin Shanahan checks in. Most are not going to get this. Sirianni sounds like the little guy from Fantasy Island. Boss, the plane boss.
The plane, boss, the plane.
Yeah, Devin, you might want to. You know, I don't know if you
Great
need a new
take.
Jacob hat.
Great take.
You're approaching Brian Pumper
Hey,
territory.
great take, Devin. That's right. Over here. He's like the guy in the aircraft carrier. Land a plane here.
Devin, you're falling on the Nick Sirianni sword. You're Sileo eyes.
Yeah. Go get him,
Umberto checking in. Say what you want. 88 is a top 3 tight end if he plays 17. Well, they got to use him.
Yeah, the propaganda machine. Oh, we love him.
He's not top 3 either. Brock Bowers, George Kittle.
Oh, yeah.
Kelsey, he's probably better than Kelsey now. Would you take, for this upcoming year, would you take Goddard over Kelsey?
Yeah. I thought the last 3 games of the year last year for the Chiefs, I thought he was nowhere.
He was nowhere, is right.
I actually thought Dallas Goedert was really good in the playoffs.
Look at Kyle. Kyle Kokorski. Breaking news. Sirianni was pulling a shift at U.S. Foods last week.
Yeah. Way to go, Kyle. Great.
I got a buddy that works for U.S. Foods, man. I got a good friend that works for U.S. Foods.
Kyle.
Who's crying? I'm asking a question. There's Prince crying earlier.
Oh,
Kyle Kokorski says Rondé Barber Sills. I don't know what he was talking about. There.
No. I was talking like this guy. I was trying to compare somebody to Cooper DeJean. And boy, I'll tell you, man, I think he's a better ball player than Kenyon Mitchell.
I agree with that. Cooper's unreal. Cooper's going to own this town soon. East Coast Rico says, what do y'all think about playing the Redskins so late? Hate it. Yeah. Also, why?
And from a business 2 in the last 3. 2 in the last 3, right?
Just bad business, I think, for the NFL. I think there should be a rule where you have to play every division team at least once before like week 12. Yeah.
No. What I think is you have to play your division in the first 8, and then you have to play the second game post 8. Right. I mean, 2 times you play Washington in the last 3 weeks. I don't get that. That doesn't make sense.
Right. I agree. One more. Ben Dover says, ever been a team with the number 1 in D, pass, and run? I don't know. That's a question for an NFL historian. I don't know that answer.
I don't know that either, if that's ever happened. I'm going to have to ask my boy Jason Cole that. Has there ever been a number 1 ranked offense and a number 1 ranked defense in NFL history? Not the Ravens. I'd have to think maybe one of those Patriot teams.
Maybe like not the 17 team, right? Or not the
you think that Colts team with Peyton Manning?
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
I mean,
all right, Phil. Good show, brother. I got to run.
All right, brother. I appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow, man.
Thank you, man. Great segment today, Sills.
You got it, brother. I appreciate it. I don't know if that's ever happened. There's ever been a number 1 offensive football team offensively and a number 1 defensive football team in NFL history. So hard to get that. Well, it would have to be, I would think, pre-salary cap. Okay, because you're able to compile and keep players around. Maybe that Steeler team for 4 and 6 when they won those championships with Bradshaw and those guys. Let's bring in our Hall of Fame voter now. Man that I loved. And again, he's got a brand new book out. We'll make sure we get to that. Do you ever remember that? There's ever been a number 1 ranked offensive football team and a number 1 ranked defensive football team at the same time that ended up going out and winning a title? Was it the Steelers?
I don't think it's the Steelers because they didn't throw that much.
That's right.
They ran the ball. I mean, they threw the third and the fourth teams that won titles, won with Bradshaw's arm in the playoffs and certainly in the Super Bowl, like the throw to Stallworth and Swan. Like there's some big plays there and some big games. But regular season, they were a running team.
Yeah.
So, and like Bradshaw, I think has only like 1 career 300-yard game or something like that in the regular season. Yeah, but that's just the rules. I mean, like that's not a reflection of his talent. That's a reflection of the rules, in my view. The most likely is you have a team probably in the 60s because you have a smaller league. So the chance to be number 1 in both, there's a higher probability. Once you get to 26 teams, once you get, over 20 with the merger in 70, it's a lot harder. I mean, maybe like the Jets with Namath the year
Yeah.
that they won the title, because
Or
that was
how
a
about
great defense.
How about the Coryell Chargers, man? They were pretty good on defense, and they also obviously were very good on offense. But maybe that was one of the Achilles that they had because they were in that era against the Raiders and Steelers that they didn't have that good at defense, because I can't remember that far back.
Most of those teams traded possessions
Yeah.
for defense. You know, like they played, you know, for turnovers to try and so they gave up yards. The closest I would think maybe one of the 49er teams
Yeah.
in the maybe the 84 team or the 87 team.
That sounds
That's
right.
like that's what I'm gonna guess. It's gonna be one of those teams.
Absolutely. Let's go around the league a little bit here. I mean, OTA is going on right now. In your opinion, outside of the Eagle talk, the Rams, 49ers, Detroit, I would say potentially Chicago, Washington, any of those teams, Jace, what do you think any of those teams has a shot to be that second team? Does the Cowboys have a shot at this? Who gives the biggest threat for the Eagles for the NFC Championship?
Well, it's the Rams of the 49ers, because the Rams gave them hell last year in the playoffs because Stafford can figure it out and he can prep for it, and it's the 49ers because they've actually beaten them. Now, they didn't beat this incarnation of them, but they beat them before in the past. You know, Jalen Carter wasn't playing as well, but he was on those teams that they beat him with Jalen Carter. So to me, it's the 49ers, but yeah, it's got to be a healthy 49ers team, and they haven't shown the ability to stay healthy consistently. You know, the one year that they did, they made the Super Bowl, but they got health question marks at virtually every position, including the quarterback, because again, he's a littler guy and he gets banged around. Not just the Philly game, but last year he had the elbow problem at the end of the year when he got hit. He's I love the guy. I love a lot of things he does. I love the story, but I just don't know how long it lasts. That's all.
Do you think Kyle Shanahan, again, if you're Kyle Shanahan now, I mean, Jace, how long do you go with him in San Francisco? I mean, doesn't it get to a point where maybe greener pastures, maybe a different thing? Because, I mean, how long do you get we're now looking at, he's such a great coach. I get it, and I can see you shaking your head. However, when do you get to a point where you do this? Dude, we got to win here. We just can't have, I mean, Jason Garrett, it's like this is starting to look like Jason Garrett stuff here where,
come on. No, wait a second.
Wait
a second.
You got to win a title.
Jason Garrett? Come on, man. This doesn't look like Jason Garrett. He doesn't look lost on the sidelines. And he doesn't look like he's, waiting for Papa to show up and run the show, with Jerry, behind him. Kyle's in charge. I mean, yes, there's a point here where you question, what do you have to do? I get it. But there's not very many coaches I want more than him. I just don't. I mean, he's a guy I want to have on my sideline until I think that the players are no longer listening. Because that's the key. Like, are the players tuned into him and are they listening to him? Are they fighting for it? Are they playing hard for him? Or are they not? And if they're not, that's when it runs out. When do they lose faith in him? And that's a really hard question to answer. But that's what you have John Lynch there for.
If you were looking at one guy to be replaced, if it doesn't happen this year or in the next 3 years, is it Lynch and not Kyle? Or that would be where Jed York would go? Is that route, is replacing the general manager, trying to get – because, again,
I think if something happens there, Lynch might go back to TV, if you're asking me that question.
But, okay.
I think there's a good chance that Lynch goes back to do that.
We had Phil Simms on yesterday, and I was kind of shocked he said this. I asked him about the Jets situation and Justin Fields. He thinks Justin Fields is going to have a breakout year, Jason. He thinks that this is going to be the year they're going to utilize him. I haven't seen anything out of this player yet to make me think that that guy's going to take some crazy step forward. But I don't know. Maybe you're on the side with Phil here, but Phil sees a breakout year in New York with him. How do you see that move? I don't.
I don't think the kid knows how to read the field.
Me too.
So I like, and I'm surprised that Phil would say that, but maybe this is why you take chances on guys with this kind of athletic ability and that kind of arm, that at some point in time it all clicks. You keep coming back, and hopefully they study and they study and they study, and finally it all just kind of comes together, in a kind of a Rich Gannon moment late in their career, where you take a guy who's a good athlete. Now, obviously Fields is a better athlete than Rich Gannon ever was, but you just hope that, God, he just figures it out. Like, Terrell Pryor was another guy like that. You were just waiting and waiting and waiting to see it would happen, and then it just never did. Look, this is if ever there's an opportunity to just say to Justin Fields, look, dude, you got 17 games. Go do it. We're not worried about winning or losing. We're not. I'm on a scholarship year as a head coach. We're going to find out if you got anything. And if you do, awesome. And if you don't, okay, are we going to be able to convince Arch Manning to come out a year earlier than I expect? Because I don't think Arch Manning's coming out this year, but maybe something changes, right? Or whoever the next best quarterback is in next year's draft. Then you worry about that. But I would want to give him, a full season. Just go. Even if it's really stupid, ugly at certain times, just go play. Just go screw it up. Do whatever you're going to do. Make it happen. Just play. And that's what I would say to Justin Fields.
Two last ones here for you. Kirk Cousins, instead of waiting around and sitting around for Aaron Rodgers, you seem to be the savant on Kirk Cousins. You nailed the deal that he was going to sign 2 years ago or a year ago. You were dead on with that. If you're New Orleans or Pittsburgh, I know he's not the answer, but he could be a bridge guy for you. Why sit around and wait for Rodgers where you can start making some plans for 2025? He's not horrible. With a good O-line, he can play. He throws up big numbers. I mean, why sit around and wait for Rodgers when he's around jacking around? It sounds like Brett Favre 2.0 all over again, Jason. Why not just sign Cousins and make it great?
Well, you don't know what Atlanta's asking for, so that's part of it. The price presumably will come down. B, do you think Cousins' body is just shot? Like, that's the concern I have.
It sure looked.
See, like Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, man. If you can get, I mean, presumably they're not making the move because they believe that Rodgers is going to come play, and it's just. But I'm a part of me is with you in saying, look, I want a guy who's on board.
Yeah,
I want a guy who's bought in. I don't, it's sort of like with Stephon Diggs and what's going on in New England, where he's on a boat, like, not that, a guy on a boat in Miami is something foreign to you, but, the fact that, he's playing around, and when he's supposed to be recovering from a knee injury, like, you want a guy a little bit more focused on what he's trying to accomplish.
Are you saying I've been on a booty boat before? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe in the past I may have been on. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know. I can't recall. I don't know. I could have that. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe CTE's kicking in here. Before I ask,
it better be right now, because the wife is in the other room with the little dog, Steve, the dog.
And we got a new little cat to keep score here too on that. Is there any plans you think of doing something like this for you Hall of Fame guys? What about Jim Irsay? I had Tony Dungy on my radio show in Tampa, and I asked him about Jim Irsay. Boy, I'll tell you what, same thing you said about him, Jason. Tony just said this. one of the greatest stories I ever heard. I was on the air in Tampa in the mornings. Tony got fired at around 6:10 in the morning. By the end of my program, 3 hours later, he said this in the phone. Jim Irsay said this: "Don't have your agent call me. Don't have anybody call me. You call me. We're going to work this out. I want you to be my head coach." And by the time my show was over, Tony Dungy said, we talked 3 seconds about football. Then we started talking about being a man. We started talking about what kind of person I wanted. He said Jim Irsay was one of the absolutely most endearing men in NFL history. And he said, yes, he may have had some issues, but at the end of the day, the 53rd guy on the team could go into his office and ask a question. Kind of a polar opposite. And why now I find out why he didn't like Daniel Snyder. But you're talking about a guy here that made football, Tony said, fashionable in Indianapolis. I mean, you think there's anything in the kind of movement there for his passing to put him in the Hall of Fame?
You're saying, like, does he deserve to go in the Hall of Fame? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't deserve to go in the Hall of Fame. He deserves every accolade. He deserves maybe having some kind of honor, like a comeback of the year award and named after him. Some kind of there's an award there that's out there, and I haven't thought too much about exactly what it would look like, but somebody who's overcome personal issues, to become, something better, like that could be the Jim Irsay Award, but I don't think it's Hall of Fame. I don't. And I mean, it's an interesting case, got a stadium built, did a lot, but there's just there's a little bit too much damage and a little too much tawdry to say, yeah, he deserves to go in, especially if you're going to hold standards against other people along the way.
Like Bob Kraft.
It's hard for me to do. It's hard for me to go there with Jim Irsay as a Hall of Famer. As much as and I love the guy. I really do.
You do.
I think highly of him. But I'm uncomfortable with the idea of putting him in the Hall of Fame.
Lastly, how's the book doing?
Book's doing great. Robert Paler is fantastic. I mean, he's an amazing story. So he's sold thousands of copies so far. He's done a great job. He's doing fantastic. Again,
I'm supposed to get a word back.
Anybody, if you're having a bad day, you should read a chapter of Robert Paler. That's all I can tell you.
Well, I know this, that Adam Crowley's supposed to be getting back with me, so we'll be able to hook that up for you here. And Rogan will get back to me too, because they got like guests booked up left and right. But I'm working on that thing for you. Throw the title of the book out again, how they can find it, because again, I'm seeing some really great reviews on it too, Jason. That's really great of you, man. I mean, it's really got great reviews.
Yep, it's all him, because I just put the words down. He's the story. So I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Chase, thank you so much, my friend.
All right, dude. I'll talk to you later. Be good.
You got it. Jason Cole. We really appreciate him all the time stepping in with us. Yeah. I mean, great storyline too. It's a great book. Make sure you guys check it out. Go to Amazon and make sure you guys get the book, and absolutely great stuff there. Jason always does a great book. Hit the like button. We appreciate everybody coming aboard with us here. Do me a favor. Don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. With over $30 billion recovered with clients across the country. It's exactly what we're talking about here when we're talking about winning. And what I mean by winning is this. The reason that they are the number one injury law firm in America is because they do win. I mean, I told you about the family in Pennsylvania that got a $30 million settlement, and the insurance company came in and wanted to only give them a $650,000 settlement. Or the family down in Florida that got $300,000 offered to them. They said, no way. Morgan & Morgan went in and ended up getting over $12 million. Folks, if you're ever injured and you're ever hurt and you're ever in need, do me a favor, be the best decision you ever made. Log on to forthepeople.com/big sales, or you can pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529 to do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLEX, Eagles.
Big Sales, please do me a favor and hit the like button. We appreciate you guys very much jumping aboard with us. Thank you again. We got Big Krause with us here. Awesome stuff here. All right, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. I have to make this point here. I'm a content guy, just like Joe Krause is. I look at great content. What is selling? By the way, players spoke. The Eagle players spoke, I think it was yesterday. So I'm going to go back over that a little bit and what those guys said. We'll do that here in a minute. ESPN has to be the biggest race baiting network in the history of sports talk. They're now the CNN of sports. You know why 14 million people have left that network when it comes to viewership in the last 10 years? Because of their bullshit. So they did this week 10 shows on the so-called bullshit comments by Angel Reese. What a liar. WNBA comes out. And by the way, I'm talking WNBA. Why? Well, because millions of people are watching it. They actually have something in women's sports that you can watch and enjoy. But what does ESPN do? They start a whole week off with race shows. Oh, it's terrible. None of it was ever true. It's pseudo Duke lacrosse case stuff. That's how pathetic it was. Here, let me get for instance. And speaking of that, so it's called accountability. Okay, it's called accountability. That Duke lacrosse case turned out to be that the district attorney ended up lying and ruining lives. They canceled the program. Nobody was ever held accountable. Same thing here. She screams racism, and there's no racism. Instead of talking about a great product that they're starting to develop where people have eyeballs on your sport. By the way, once again, people talking shit in the stands. Hey, women's sports. I got a note for you. If you want to be a mainstream sport, act like it. Are you under the impression that at Lincoln Financial, MetLife, SoFi Stadium, people don't talk shit and say stupid things to players? Welcome to the group. The WNBA and ESPN don't know how to cover sports any longer. That shit resonates. You got a villain. You should be pushing her as a villain versus Caitlyn. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. I've said this numerous times to you. That was the greatest race-selling era in American sports history. Why? Two polarizing guys in Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Two legendary franchises, Celtics and Lakers. You couldn't get enough of that. It was appointment-setting television. Tremendous content. East Coast, West, the whole thing. Do you know when I was a kid, the 1979 NBA Finals were tape delayed? You know, Xander said something earlier on the program. He goes, there's just not really, like SGA and all those guys. I mean, you're not making me tune in. He's right. Make me have appointment setting TV. Listen, guys, you guys come here because, and God bless you. And Joe Kraus knows this as good as anybody because he's been in the business long time like me. You guys come here because for you, I'm appointment setting. And I value that. Okay? Our show is appointment setting. And we're growing and growing and growing. It's appointment setting television. That's what I look for. What makes me go to the TV set? Caitlin Clark does. I saw her signing autographs in Baltimore, like for about 20 minutes prior to the game, and she's injured. It's great shit, man. Good. Women's sports finally has an ambassador to make me want to watch it. Great. They've never had it in American sports history. There's never been a league where you have people with eyeballs on it. But what does fucking ESPN do? They started off with race. How in the world and who in the world is programming that? I mean, you should be programming the fact that more people had eyeballs on that Chicago-Indiana game than any other game in NBA history on your network that struggles for viewers. I said this the other day to you. Why do you think people watch Pat McAfee? Because it's compelling. It's interesting. It's a great guest. Shit, I've been doing this for 35 years doing that. Compelling. Great guest. Debate. Get this, Pat's not doing anything different than I do. Nothing. Nothing. And that's why I've been able to stay in the game. Because why? Dude, I don't talk about what I want to talk about. I talk about what you want to hear. I'd be egotistical to sit here and think, well, let's talk about Seattle Seahawks football. Why? The audience that I am appealing to right now doesn't give a shit about anything in Seattle. They barely care about, they care about the Cowboys. Here's who Eagle fans care about. Their team, their city, the Cowboys, a little bit Giants, Washington, because the owner of the Sixers. I have conversations with this all the time with Angelo Cataldi. Angelo's like me. You know what we have? We have a topic board. And I have a topic board that I go to. What do I think people want to talk about? The new defense, the new football team, the interesting comments that players and coaches make. By the way, one of the truly shocking things for me, and one of the epiphany and eye-opening things for me, is how compelling the Philadelphia Eagles have been to cover. I didn't think you were very polarizing until I started covering you. I didn't realize you were this interesting. But you know what I realized? It's not that the team's interesting. It's the fans that are interesting and what they love and what they like about it. That's what I talk about. The shit you're talking about. That's what's different. Like, I don't sit here and go like this. Here would be old Dan. Hey, man, you got a black quarterback playing in Philadelphia. Wow. Face of the league. Boy, it really has grown. Man, that's so low-hanging fruit. That's like everyone would go, come on, man. Really? No, I'm with you. Really? That's not a compelling topic. Oh, the Philadelphia Eagles, this is the second black quarterback, no, third with Vic. That's how ESPN starts their shows out. And you're like, what the fuck is that? Right? Jalen Hurts is not a black quarterback to me. Jalen Hurts is the leader of the Philadelphia Eagles. But to ESPN, he's a black quarterback. And when things go wrong, it's because he's a black quarterback. They're taking a shit on him. That's not true. At least not for me. That has nothing to do with the conversation, really. I could care less what color he is, what religion he is. I could care less if he believes in God or not. What's that have to do with me covering a quarterback that plays for your team? If you're starting conversations off with anything race, unless it's blatant, I'm not saying that. You're digging for shit that's not there, like Angel Reese was. 5 days in a row they did shows on shit that wasn't true. Then when the league came out and with that press release, it was like it never happened. They just moved on from it. Talk about race baiting. And there's no accountability for it. You know, as Joe Krause knows, for me, accountability, holy cow, people have held my feet to the fire for about 13 years on shit. They remind me of it all the time. Some of you do in here too. But if somebody makes a comment about a false accusation about something that never happened, screaming out race, fuck it, we'll just move on. I guess you pick and choose who you want to go after. Is that right? Unfortunately, it's a sad lesson I've learned. You go after me, little old Dan. And I'm not playing victim here, but I've been a victim for 13 years. And somebody says some of the most preposterous things. And I mean, really, no wonder nobody watches that network. You got a really great opportunity there with women's sports to propel it forward and be a leader in the room on helping women have a professional sports league that people can be proud of in America. You're missing the boat. You're totally missing the boat. What a shame. Lost opportunities. I guess it happens all the time. It's crazy. All right. Do me a favor, hit the like button. And again, it's an observation. I mean, I watch these shows. I can't watch ESPN anymore. I just can't. it's like watching CNN. You're just like, every single damn show is a hate show about this guy, that guy, Trump this, Republicans this. I mean, ESPN would have you believe if you're a Republican, you're in a cult. And you're like, dude, what is it to you, whoever it is? Okay? Here's Kyle. Kyle, thank you. Dice Clay sells more than WNBA. Hey, I'll say this to you, Kyle. The last time Dice Clay was relevant, the Cowboys were good. Right? Last time Dice Clay was anybody, they were good, right? Yeah, that old stick they used to do at Dangerfields. By the way, I've been to that club. It's absolutely outstanding. Sills, honestly, I like other sports, but I don't care to watch them. Unless I could go live. Football is the only thing that interests me enough to watch from home. I'm not emotionally invested. I'll tell you one thing you got to say, Ben. Philadelphia Eagle fans, most invested next to Bills. I've said it before, Patriots. Markets that I have worked in. I got to say, man, Philly and Boston, you guys have a lot in common. Holy shit. You could be critical of your teams, but if an outside guy's critical of your teams, holy shit. Don't let anybody parachute in. Philadelphia and Boston hates ESPN. Okay? They hate them. They hate the fans. Do you know that? Who do you think ESPN, what fan base, Yale, or anybody, what fan base do you think ESPN's trying to appeal to? What do you guys? It's New York and Los Angeles. That's who they're trying to appeal. And you know who they're trying to irritate? Boston and Philly and Chicago. Plain and simple. So when you see stories coming out on CBS.com sports, or you see ESPN.com with stories that you have Jalen Hurts, the fastest way to get a reaction out of Philly? Put Jalen Hurts not in the top 10 in quarterbacks. It's by design. They're trolling you. Everyone knows it's not true. Who cares if it's true? That's today's media. Nobody gives a shit if it's true. It's not important if it's true. It's important if it's compelling and sells. And you get clicks, views, whatever. Like this OKC in Indiana in the finals. You think ESPN is happy or the NBA is happy that OKC and Indiana are going to be in the finals? Absolutely not. Okay? But they don't get it. That's Trump's fan base. That's the NFL's fan base. Middle America and South. It's not New York and California. That's how that guy won the election, and that's how the NFL is the number one sport in America right now. They care kind of about New York and LA, but they care more about Middle America. Why do you think the fucking draft was in Green Bay? Or if it was the case, that's why do you think they took the draft out of New York? They know their fan base. It's Kansas City, Philly. It's Tampa. It's Dallas. It's shit like that. That's why they took the draft away from New York. New York doesn't represent the NFL. Middle America and the South does. That's the fan base. I mean, think about this with Green Bay. Green Bay is like market number 290 something. How do they get 75,000 people in the building every Sunday they have NFL games? Or how do you think they had over 700,000 people for the draft? What? Because you know why? The entire Midwest went to the draft. Chicago, Wisconsin, Minnesota. That's the fan base of the NFL. It's not New York. It's not California. That's why ESPN is losing, because that's who they're trying to appeal to. Shit, New Yorkers and Los Angeles people don't even give a shit about the NFL. I mean, I don't ever remember the city of Los Angeles screaming for two teams. You know, the NFL was not in Los Angeles for 20 years. Did you know that? 20 some odd years. Ratings went up, revenues went up, value of teams went up. And also, they didn't have a team in LA. I mean, I don't ever remember LA screaming. They ended up getting 2. The only reason they did that was why? So Stan Kroenke and the Spanos family could raise the value of their teams and the value of the league. You understand that? The only reason they moved to LA was to increase the value of the league. You think they did it because LA wanted football? You think they want to go to Europe and play in Europe because why? The NFL wants a team in Europe? I told you this before. They want a team in Europe so they can start the cash register early. Think about, like I said, you got 6 o'clock a.m. games in LA. 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock games it is. In the East Coast it is if you're playing in England or overseas in Europe. That means the cash register starts early. Commercial spots. You know, every time there's a commercial spot for the National Football League in season, it's $3 million. Every commercial spot is $3 million. Boom, boom, boom. And they do about, 5 of them? They make $15 million every stop set. And it all goes into the owners, all 32 of them. And you get to start that from 6 a.m. Pacific to what? Midnight? Man, what a, it's in the NFL's eyes. God used to own Sundays. The NFL does now. I mean, that cash register is just pumping it out now, man. Absolutely. All right. Let me get to what the players said. Let me see. Dallas Goedert, Jalix Hunt, Cooper DeJean, and Q all spoke. And by the way, I want you guys to get right now. Remember, state media. It's funny. Let me go over and take a look at the Eagles right now, and let me take a look at this. Let me see the Eagles Twitter account here. I like how Xander calls it State TV because it is. Let's see how many videos we got of Dallas Goedert coming up here. Let's see here. Okay, got a story coming out on Goddard. Okay, got video of Dallas Goedert. You got people talking. There's like a new series coming out, and there's videos all over of Dallas Goedert. And they're just rolling these things out. Why is that? You think they really like the player? It's propaganda. It's propaganda. It's to make you feel he wants to be here. I'm not saying he doesn't, because it was probably the smart move for him. But he's the only guy that got a pay deduction. If you like that guy so much and you only save $4 million, and you thought that $4 million was that important to you that you would cut his pay for a guy who's loyal to you and for a guy who put his ass on the line and really had a great playoff for you. Think about that. Every single football player, including the executives, the head coach, if you're the head coach who just got a pay raise, by the way, I'm right, it's 13.5. They're not paying that guy any more than that. I know that for a fact now. It's 13.5. Deal with it. He's not the highest. He's not even in the top 5 paid coaches in the NFL. It's 13.5. Get over yourselves. It's a fact. Okay? Still a raise from $6 million. People were sitting there going, this guy's got the best resume and the 4th best resume in the history of the league. Why wouldn't you think that you would pay him $21 million? You know why? Because ownership doesn't look at him like that. I was right again. Tell you, that's why I'm having a good 2025. My predictions have been dead on. They never pay that guy number one money. And they didn't. Okay? By the way, what are you so embarrassed about? Don't you want to revel in the fact you paid the guy more money than Andy Reid? You don't think that would be a feather in Jeffrey Lurie's hat? Hey, man, the guy I fired, Doug Peterson, here's the guy I replaced him with. Now he's the highest paid guy in the league. Well, he's not. He's not. Bang. He's not. Okay? He's not. But he did get a raise. He did get a raise. Saquon Barkley got a raise. Zach Bond got a raise. Milton Williams got a raise. Josh Sweat got a raise. Isaiah Rodgers got a raise. Who else? Anybody else get a raise? Oh, yeah, Cam Jurgens got a raise. Only got to take a pay cut is the tight end. And you only save $4 million bucks? What's that about? Will somebody please explain that to me? What is that about? And now you're trying to tell us you love the guy. I didn't see Nick Sirianni fighting for the guy. Fighting for the guy to come back with a reduced salary. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Like you really like the player. That's bullshit. Pay cut a guy and telling me you like him is a lie. It's a lie. You know, pats on the back in the NFL. You think you're in high school? Hey, good job, kid. Way to do one for the team. We're all professionals here. It's called professional football. You know what professional football means? You get paid for your services. Everybody is gauged by the money that they make. And I'll say this, even for my network, who's left standing? There's a value there too. Right, Big Joe? Who's left standing? Remember that. Okay? A lot of things play into that. Did the Eagles want him back? Yep. Absolutely. Not at his salary. Theirs. $4 million. You'll never sell it to me that made sense. To jack the guy around like that the entire offseason, just made no sense. He spoke the other day. I wrote some of the things down he said. And I really love the fact that the Philly media did their job here because the first question right out of the gate is, did you think you'd be back? And he's like, he didn't know he would be back. He didn't know what to think. You know, sometimes his agent, he said, I'm paraphrasing this, his agent would say this to him. Well, you know, this looks good. This doesn't look good. What have you. They didn't know all the way up until the week that he signed the contract that he was going to be back. That doesn't sound like somebody you wanted back if you're Philly. You wanted him back at your price. Every single person that was on a championship team, think about this. It would be like a company having a windfall year where they had great revenues over the top and everybody, every department had made so much money for the company. And then your boss turned around going, I'm going to give you a pay cut. And now let you celebrate the reward of the company and their windfall profits. That's what the Eagles did. They told Dallas Goedert, you're not part of the celebration. Celebration is being at the party, being at the parade, and benefiting from the job that you did for them. Unfortunately, the Eagles didn't see that. And Nick Sirianni didn't fucking fight for him. He got out of the way. Okay? That's how I see him. Keep telling me how great it is to see me, how great you like me. And you tell me to take a pay cut. That's bullshit. He says it's great to be back. I believe him. It's great to be back with the Eagles, he said. I think he's talking more about his teammates. The number one thing you miss, and this is so true, the number one thing that you miss is being around the fellas and the camaraderie that you have with your teammates, especially a championship football team. Okay? Right? Especially a championship team. Yeah, Jalen missed 2 games. His money's going up. More of a cap hit. That's right. Keep making excuses to making the guy take a pay cut and not fighting for him. Yeah, you look good doing it. Everyone who does that looks stupid. Looks stupid. Unbelievable. Anyway, he probably is excited about being back. Being with his teammates. It's a great group. If I was Dallas Goedert this year, I would do exactly what Milton Williams did. I would do exactly what Josh Sweat did, what Javon Hargrave did. Whom else? Every single guy that got a raise with another team. And you know what I would do? Because I got my chip. I'd go to a passing offense now and show you what you're going to miss with a quarterback that knows how to get me the ball, who has struggled with the tight end position. The worst quarterback in the world for Dallas Goedert is Jalen Hurts. Why? They don't throw across the middle of the field. They throw to the numbers. Look at the targets. Look at the targets. I mean, that's reality. They go to the numbers. Target 1, target 2. Dallas Goedert's not. How many times has he bitched about? I remember him a year ago or 2 years ago when he said, I wish I was part more of the passing game. Those are out of his lips. He has said that. That's a quote that he wishes he was part more of the passing game. Shit, I'd go to Cincinnati. I got my chip already. Let me go get some numbers because that's how you're paid. You're paid on your numbers. You're not paid on wins. Remember, I told you, look at the top 10 quarterbacks. Nobody has a 500 or more winning record in the top 10 right now, top paid quarterbacks. They all have under 500 records in postseason play. And none of them have Super Bowls. So when you guys say, well, you have to win. Of course you have to win. But players look at it different. You're not paid by team success. You're paid by individual success. You make it to the Hall of Fame by individual success. That's why I see it different than you. You guys look at Jalen Hurts and see that resume. I go, and it's great. But that's not how players are paid. I mean, the top 10, like I said, the top 10 players. Here, take a look at it. Top 10 NFL quarterbacks paycheck. Top 10 NFL quarterbacks 2025. Simple. It's not that hard to look at here. Not top 10 paid. Here. Highest paid quarterbacks, 2025. Let's take a look at it. Let's see if I'm wrong. Okay? You think, how many people in here think you're paid on Super Bowls? or winning in the postseason. How many people believe that? How many people believe you're paid on wins or what you do in the postseason? Leon says this. Where here he is. Lee. Me. Okay. Get this. Stat comps. That's how you're paid. Okay. I would say so. It's a bonus for that. No, it's not. Oh, they get built in escalators and bonuses for playing in the postseason. Okay. You don't get paid though, salary-wise in the postseason. The league pays you. If you win the Super Bowl, you think the Eagles pay you? They have a salary. Whoever wins the Super Bowl, there's a winning bonus and there's a loser's bonus for winning and losing the Super Bowl. You don't get paid if you're this or that in the game. When have you ever heard that? You don't get paid if you win the Super Bowl by the Eagles. You get paid by the league. There's a winner's share, just like in baseball, and a loser's share. That's not an extent. That's not an incentive. That's not an incentive. It's not true. Incentives are individual incentives. Sacks, TD throws, TD runs. Anytime you put a team incentive in there, you're never going to get it because you're relying on others to make you money. Contract incentives are not that. That's not true. Okay, what do you think? You like the Eagles, if Jalen Hurts wins the Super Bowl, he gets paid more money? That's ridiculous. There's a winner's share and a loser's share. Hate having to educate you here, but here, we'll do it again. Dak Prescott, $60 million. I think he's won 2 or 3 playoff games in 10 years. We're going into his 10th year, 9 years. Joe Burrow's been to one. Didn't win. Josh Allen hasn't been to one. Hasn't won. Jordan Love hasn't won. Trevor Lawrence hasn't won. Tua hasn't won. Goff's been to one. Hasn't won. Purdy's been to one. Hasn't won. Justin Herbert hasn't won. Lamar Jackson hasn't won. Those are the top 10 players in the league at quarterback. 60, 55, 55, 55, 55, 53, 53, 53, 52, and 52. Those are the top 10 guys. Where in the world do you think you're paid because of team accomplishments? Were you under the impression Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts gets paid because he's the perfect quarterback for what they're doing. He's not paid for his numbers. Okay? I mean, NFL players are not paid for team accomplishments. Here, how much money do here, just to validate it here, how much money did Eagle players make for winning the Super Bowl? $171,000. Here it is. Each player who wins the Super Bowl will receive a $171,000 bonus. This bonus is part of the 2020 collective bargaining agreement. Additionally, players on the losing team, like Kansas City, received $96,000. Everything is collectively bargained. Every player, whether you won the MVP or whether you were Jahan Dotson, you got $171,000. Okay? Those aren't true. Dude, I have an NFL contract. I'll show it to you tomorrow. You're paid on Pro Bowl. You're paid on sacks. percentage of plays, tackles. Like if I play in 75% of plays, I make an addition. Here, I've showed some of you this before. And this is exactly, again, most of you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Here, I'll show you exactly an incentive that and some of you have seen this. I'll show you an incentive. It's a $40,000 incentive. I think some of you guys have seen this before. Let's see, Sileo Bucks incentive. Nothing team to this. Bucks incentive. And I think it comes out to now, what was it that we figured out? It was like $400,000 that it came out to now or something like that. Here's a Buccaneer incentive that the Bucs sent me. This is the Tampa Bay Buccaneer incentive. Okay? It's an incentive for me. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And if you read it down there, I'll hold it up. It says I get $25,000 for working out. I get another $15,000. I get another $15,000 for completing the workout. So it's $40,000 in 1987. Comes out to about $300,000, something like that. So the Bucs gave me $40,000 to lift weights. And they give me $40,000 because my team won 12 games. You don't know how players are paid? Okay. Right? I mean, let's see here. Maybe I get a better view of it so you guys can see it. And I'll take a picture of it here so you guys can see it. Incentive. Sileo Bucks. Post. This is how players are paid. They're not paid on if Jalen Hurts takes the team to a Super Bowl. There's no such of incentive because that's not collectively bargained. You may think it is, but it ain't. Let's see here. Hopefully I got this thing here. Yeah, I'll bring it up tomorrow. Buccaneer incentive. I'll do that tomorrow here. It's one of the coolest things I still have for my contract. Talk shit. Talk shit what? With facts? So what's the point of the topic then? Again, the point of the topic is you fucked over Dallas Goedert. That's the point. Trying to tell me you like the guy? Bullshit. How do you like a guy and tell him to take a pay cut? And I did like Dallas answering the question. Here, let's move on here. He said he was asked the question, do you think it's going to end in Philly? And he goes, I don't know. Not only facts, big facts. Exactly. They don't like, hey, Niner, these people don't want to hear it. That they fucked the guy over. And now they're trying to pat him on the head. I mean, get this. They think because Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl that he's paid for it. He's not. Nobody is. Like, I tried to, you know what? It's funny. When we were talking about the Cooper DeJean stuff earlier, well, they're going to pay him they're not going to pay him $40 million if he's in the slot. They're going to pay him $13.5 or $15 million. That's all they're going to pay him because that's how they control salaries. They control salaries by position. Here, what are the positions? This is a great exercise on how teams see people. They don't pay them just randomly. Here's $50 million. Salaries in the NFL by position, not by player. Okay? That's how they pay you. By position. Did you not know that? Did you not know they pay you by position? I didn't realize you didn't know that. Okay? I mean, right here, this is a great exercise. Let's go with positions. Quarterbacks. The quarterback position, tremendous. This is a great exercise here to show you guys again. Jalen Hurts again is going to be paid on how the NFL. If Nick Sirianni is paid less than the top 5, he's freaking making millions, not feeling sorry for him. You're missing the point. Dude, it's all relative to your job. If one guy in your job, in your place you work, you're doing a job better than them, or you're somebody who should be paid because you helped a team win a Super Bowl or helped a company deliver great ratings or great revenues, you should be compensated for it, not deducted for it. And that's what Dallas Goedert did. It's relative to your job. You know, working at a Home Depot, if you're the hardest working guy at Home Depot, and all of a sudden, you know, you got a guy who's not showing up to work on time and he shows up 3 days out of the 5, and that guy gets a pay raise, and they're asking you to take a pay cut, it's all relative to your job. Get this. Not the salaries, it doesn't. But wait, not the salaries. I just named you the top 10 quarterbacks. Not one of them have a winning record in the postseason. Does it matter to them? Wait a second. How's it contradicting myself when not one of those guys have a Super Bowl ring? You're talking out of your ass. Not one of those players has a Super Bowl ring. You're not paid on winning. You're paid on individual talent. You're not paid on being clutch. Dude, I'm not asking you to feel sorry for anybody. I didn't ask you to feel sorry for Dallas Goedert, and I don't think Dallas Goedert feels sorry for himself. I just think it's bullshit you need to fight for him. That's all. Or his head coach. I'm not feeling sorry for him. I'm feeling sorry for you. Wait a minute. No, I'm saying that if you're going to give everybody a pay raise like you did, and everyone got a pay raise for generating a winning season for you, and everyone benefited, why'd you ask him to take a pay cut? It's not contradicting. Everyone else you rewarded. Why didn't you reward him? Bro, eat it. Again, Rolla. Not feeling sorry for him. By the way, Ben, please keep hitting the chat room. Thank you very much for the algorithm. How can I be mad with all your posts? I welcome them. I'm not mad. Why would I be mad with sports talk? What do you think? This is eggs and bread conversation? Mad? Thank you. That's it. That a boy. Keep hitting that algorithm for us. Thank you, brother. What a sport. He doesn't believe he's going to end his career in Philly. You sound bitter for Goddard? Bitter? Why would I be bitter? I don't know the guy from a can of paint. You mistake me for stupid shit. Bitter? Why would I be bitter? Sports talk. Bitter. How dumb. Says he's looking forward to 2025. Me too. I am too. Oh, I bet you Big Dom got a raise. See him at the White House? I love it. I do. Alex Hunt spoke. This kid is going to be my breakout star. Alex Hunt. And by the way, I'm writing all my takes down because we've been out to a 2025 grants. I'm like Shohei Ohtani, like super sills with my takes so far. Point blank range. I'm like in a firing squad right now. Unbelievable. Every single thing. Put them out wide. Next day, they got them out wide. Just point blank range. Yes, sir, man. Super sills. We're killing it. Alex Hunt's my breakout guy. I'm like Shohei Ohtani. Holy shit. 50 bombs, 50 stolen bases, 300 batting average, on pace for 120 RBIs. I'm on pace for greatness. After a shitty year a year ago, I'm on pace for greatness. There's nothing I've said hasn't panned out so far. Boom. Dan Ohtani. I like that. I like Super Sills better, though. It's good. All right. I like this kid, Alex Hunt. Not very good in front of Mike yet, but he'll get there. They're asking him, like, hey, since Josh Sweat's not there, is there more pressure on him? And he's like, no, man, I got a job to do. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to play my ass off. And I think he is. He's bigger than I thought. Okay, he is. He's bigger than I thought. I got great things ahead for him, man. Then my boy showed up. White Lightning. What do you think, Joe Krause? I got a couple names for Cooper DeJean. White Lightning. What else? Great White Hope. Can't do that. Yeah, it's been taken. What would I call him? Let's see. He can't use God's name or Jesus or any of that. Can't do any of that. Let's see here. Okay. What's that? Cooper de Gold. I need a good name for him. White Lightning. I like White Lightning. Vanilla Thunder. Yeah. the Jackie Robinson of corners. We haven't had a white kid out there since Jason Sehorn. So wait a minute here. I'm going to write that down. What is it here? What'd you call him? Vanilla Thunder. Vanilla Thunder. If he keeps it up, I might have to call him Dirk Diggler. I mean, this guy's down at the Jersey Shore, man. He's hanging out with all the honeys down there. I thought he was on a Cardi B and Stephon Diggs booty boat the way he was hanging out. He was on the booty boat. Not that there's anything wrong with Stephon Diggs, but Mike Vrabel even addressed it. He goes, you got to make better decisions. And I went like this. I don't know. Looked like he was on a pretty good boat to me. Okay. I was like, holy cow. My wife showed me that. Have you seen this thing? So I looked at it yesterday and there he is, man. He's on the booty boat. I was like, Come on. So Mike Vrabel goes, yeah, Stefan, I guess he didn't show up to OTAs too, because he was like, I don't know. Maybe he had like other engagements like Hertz. Milkshake. I like that one. Cooper the milkshake. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, those guys were doing a good job there on that booty boat. Stefan the booty. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Stefan the booty. Yeah. Well, you know what? I did see the baggie. Yeah. Was it the girls? No, it wasn't the girls and the Coke. Allegedly. And I do have to drop that in there. Hey, what's that in your bag? Is that like a Macron bag? What is? Hey, by the way, did you see Macron get his ass slapped by his old lady on the airplane? Air Force France. He got his face mushed. Holy cow, that was worth. I got that as a. I've been sending that around to my friends. Hey, you want to be married for a long time? Look at Macron getting his face pushed in by his old lady. That was hilarious. I guess he was talking shit to her about something like crepe Suzette or something, and she mushed him. Holy cow. Yeah, Scarface pigs. King Cooper. I like that. King Cooper. King Cooper was on the booty boat too. I don't know. That booty boat looked good. I wonder what kind of crystal they were serving. Mike Vrabel fan, he's like, come on, man. There he is with the, and by the way, you see the NFL were investigating. What are you investigating? Well, let me guess. There were no drugs on the boat. Hey, were they in Miami? Let me get this right. Hang on for a second. You're in Miami. You're on a booty boat. You see champagne. There's a ton of chicks, right? And there's no blow there on the boat. Yeah, got it. Because me going to school at I've never seen anything like that. Okay? Hey, Stefan, I'm sure there were no drugs and no alcohol on the boat. Just chicks. You're on a boat. You're in Miami, and there's no blow. Got it. It'd be the only boat in the history of Miami that wasn't down in the Keys or down there in, holy cow, with no blow on it. Cardi B, I know. I'm shocked she was there. I like Cardi B, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I like the Vanilla Thunder. I also like, White Lightning. So he spoke. And they were asking him about, some of the newfound fame. And he asked if he's changed. How could you not be? Expectations about you? Look at how the organization even sees him. Okay? The organization is now trying to figure out, should we play him outside? Should we play him still in the nickel? Shit, should we slide him over to safety? You have so many options with him. By the way, nickel corner is not his natural position. It's not. I agree, Yale. I think he's a humble dude with newfound fame. How will he handle it? I think pretty good. I think he's done a great job. I do. I think he's a better football player than Quinyon Mitchell. And I think Q's a great player. Okay? I do. I think he's a great player. I think this guy's going to be a special player. Okay? They were just playing charades, of course. Or playing talk, right? Or they were playing spades, right? With no coke, no money, no nothing, right? Just on a boat. Yeah. All right. Hey, I'm with you. Right? I'm with you. Sure, whatever. I believe it. Hey, it's Miami. Who cares? So what else did he say here? Yeah, he was asked the question. I thought it was important too. Yeah, they played me at nickel. They played me at corner. They're going to start talking about playing me out wide. I don't know. I'm going to play wherever they want me to play. I think that's one of the compelling questions and what they're trying to figure out during OTAs. Where are they going to put him? Okay. Where are they going to play him? I'd like to see him at corner. And I heard him say this. He goes, I don't care where they got me. I'm going to play whatever best for us. You play him at corner too, and he gets to play against the Z. I think he can handle that. They've already moved Q over to 1. I heard Q we're going to talk about that because Q said, yeah, no, they're moving me. I don't care where they play me, either 1 or 2, left or right. I don't really care where they end up playing me. They got a lot of good young football talent. They got a lot of good guys who know where they are, and they've been acclimated so well because of the culture you have in the building. And it's a testament to the success those guys have had. Really is. It's a complete testament. I mean, Cooper DeJean and Q look very grounded. You know, they're football players first. Here lies the difference between Eagle players and Cowboy players. Cowboy players think they're TV stars. You know the star in the helmet? See that thing up there, that star in the helmet there, right? They think they're TV stars instead of forgetting that they're football players. You know, I hear he's got a podcast now too. That's great and all. It's all good. But one thing the Eagle players do is that they know it's football first.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own
Morgan & Morgan. Why don't we do it now? Let's just do it here. I don't mind it. Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in America. With over $30 billion. I think Joe was trying to tell me a message there. I love it. Okay? The #1 injury law firm in America. Told you about the thousands of attorneys from coast to coast that help families go out and do what? Serve communities. They've been doing it for over 30 years. Make sure you do me a favor. And as Joe Kraus just showed you, make sure you go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529 and do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Appreciate you guys here. And don't forget, 2-minute drill with Joe Kraus coming up too. So make sure you check into that with Big Joe. I watched those shorts. They're really good. So make sure you guys check those things out. By the way, I saw Tristan McCullum working at OTAs too. I think Vic likes him. Do I think he'll be the starter at safety? No. But I'd like to see him as their swing safety. I think he's a good football player. Okay, I do. I think he can play. I like him. Oh, by the way, let me give you a little bit. So my friends were telling me in Cleveland, I guess Shador Sanders, I got the numbers here. They're like the ESP numbers that you guys have. That guy that covers the Eagles telling me how great Hurts is. The ball doesn't hit the floor, whatever. He was just spot on, and yet they didn't throw the ball at all last year. Thought he was like something like 7-9, had 3 touchdowns in camp. Someone said to me, does it matter? Yeah, it matters. It matters for Shador. Why does it matter for Shador? Well, he's one of the most scrutinized guys there is in sports. I mean, people are not going to write kind things about him. Think about that. Even stupid OTAs, to some of you, they're not going to write positive comments. Guy couldn't see it. This is OTAs. He's failing. He doesn't look great. Nobody's looking to write a positive story. Nobody wants him to win that job. You know why? Because they feel he's been entitled. And he has to some extent. However, I think he's handled himself well. I really do. I think he's handled himself with the media and the scrutiny that he's had. I think he's handled himself as a professional. It's probably the first time he's been challenged. Because again, everything's not paved out for him like his dad is carved out. And you know, I had a second thought on this. If my daughter wanted me to open a door for her, like a LeBron or Bronny or Dion for his kid, or even Shiloh, who's got a job or a potential job with the Buccaneers as a UDFA, would you open your door for your kid? Absolutely, I would. And I wouldn't think twice about it. Because then then there's the media meathead of me doing, guy doesn't belong in the league. I'm talking Bronny. Guy shouldn't be in the league. And then I go, somebody quickly asked me, well, what if that was your kid? Would you do it? Yep. And there is totally hypocritical conversation there with that. You guys are right. Then you are being a flip-flopper because one minute you're ripping the kid, then the next minute you're saying, well, I'd open the door for my kid too. Well, which is it? I mean, right? So of course I would. You know, Dion has carved out, a great opportunity. Now, look, I've said this before, and one of the most important things you have to remember, it's, with LeBron and Bronny and with the Sanders kids and Dion, they can open doors for you, but it's up to the kids to close those doors. It's up to those guys. Dion can't go out and play for the kid. That kid's not Deion Sanders. And that kid's not LeBron James. So those guys have to go out and do it. But again, more power to them. I really do believe that I think Shador's handled himself well. Okay? I mean, I do. Okay? I mean, but everyone wants to see him under center at the same time to see how he handles it at this level. Okay, I do too. I'm interested. I think that's a storyline. And I'm with you. JT, let me tell you something. Because you're a Philly guy and that topic interests you and interests me, people in Philly don't give a shit about any other team. Cowboys, I said earlier, or any other storylines. But I'm with you. I'm interested. Can he win the job? Was he not drafted well? Look at Jalen. Was Jalen drafted correctly? When everything is said and done, has Jalen Hurts been drafted? Was he drafted fairly? You think he was drafted in the right spot, second round? Or do you think if you were to put Jalen Hurts in the draft now, what would he be? Top 5 pick? Top 10 pick? Crowley thinks he was. Second rounder? Now, you heard Phil Simms say yesterday he wasn't ready for the NFL because he didn't throw the ball well enough. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I think the kid has an opportunity to win that job. And I more power to him. And I would. I mean, I get it what Deion did by opening those doors for him. All right, guys. Absolutely great stuff as always. Please hit that like button. It will be a Football Friday. The Eagles are also, I think there's another OTA tomorrow. There's like 20 teams, by the way, that are also in OTAs. So make sure you stay tuned for the 2-minute drill with Joe Krause. We appreciate all you guys. Please hit that like button. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.